Hey, what's up? Y'all know who it is, man. The Dolphins D, we already in here. Ready to turn up this year. We gon' get it.
Welcome to Hard Rock Stadium.
We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We got the whole squad with me now. Train to go. Come play games if you want to. Try to crash our house, you done took the wrong route. We gon' crash in you like a stunt dude. Check y'all like 1, 2. Slap your head like your uncle. You wanna ride, stay buckle. It get loud down here, get wild down here. Turn the field to a jungle. Never disrespect the squad that's defended by a line. And some beats on the piece on the opposition. Another line in the back, sing it to the ER. Just in case you got through the first line with tripping. But if for some reason it get crazy, I got watchers on the corner for my safety. Everybody here well coached. Change the weather under pressure, stay cool like an AC. Woo! But we still make heat. Woo! Was you trying to play me? We be 3 plus 8 deep. But I'm a fool so low. Can't never break me. Be great. Only way to do great things. Hit hard. Only way to make a statement. Come up in our territory, look to pay me. Or be in debt with your neck. Gotta play. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. Yeah.
I hit them boys. We throw them toys. Got saying that QB. We them boys. We the realest. We go gorillas. We out here, homie. You gon' feel us. Don't make me come down. Be in that box. Like I'm red. I'll knock your socks. We don't play y'all boys. Cause we some bullies. We'll take your cookies. Cause y'all some rookies. I'm in the building. Me and Shot Jones. We do lane. We don't play zone. We play that man. So guard your hands. I see your eyes. You're scared,
we
man.
We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. Yeah.
Man, y'all been part of the buffet, boys. Shout out Solo D. Shout out to DWA. Let's eat.
Yo, Solo. You know they just say you gotta make a hit squad part 2. But you know, man, we hungry this time, man. We gotta eat this time. Back in the beast mode. AFC was trying to rap up the East Coast. Take shots, fall back, then reload. Get the powder time to slap up these foes. Anytime we hit the field, then we must play. Any boys going hard, man, I must take. Try to stay on one route like the busway. Trying to eat teams up like a buffet. Eat the offense like a buffet. Eat the quarterback like a buffet. Eat the running back like a buffet. Eat the wide receiver like a buffet. Eat the whole line like a buffet. Eat the coach up like a buffet. Eat the fan base like a buffet. Stay on one route like the busway. I say and not quote. Go hard or go home is the motto. A pick or a sack is the lotto. Let's cook them like Emerald Lagasso. My bad, Lagasse. He going south, that is not me. Hungry for greatness, so I eat. Stay in my zone like a Bobby. Jumping off the edge like Ian Shaq. Straight pressure, never easing back. Protection on the way you gon' get wins. Split through the middle like Wilkins. Got some backers on the back that's gon' back me up. Straight action, we be acting up. Tell Coach Job his best plan, but it still get snatched by X-Man. Cause we back in the beast mode. AFC, we tryna rap up the East Coast. Take shots, fall back, then reload. Get the powder time to slap up these foes. Anytime we hit the field, then we must play. Any boys going hard, man, I must take. Try to stay on one route like the busway. Trying to eat teams up like a buffet. Eat the offense like a buffet. Eat the quarterback like a buffet. Eat the running back like a buffet. Eat the the wide receiver like a buffet. Eat the whole line like a buffet. Eat the coach up like a buffet. Eat the fan base like a buffet. Eat that one round like a buffet.
Eating like a buffet, it be a long day. We ain't gon' play. Yeah, them boys green, no subway. Pick the ball off X and BJ. I don't care about what he and she say. That's nonsense. Check the replay. I work overnight and it's early morning, but I'm turned up cause it's game day. They don't really want it with your boy. O-line really get destroyed. Ex-Patriot, Cal Van Noy. Put him on his butt, hurt everyone. What's a grown man to a boy? Jam him at the line, dare you to throw it. Discipline coach Brian Flores. Never getting routed to the boys. Fans better pay attention, even social distance. I got a witness and you know we blitzing, but mind your business. Christian Wilkins on a lot of scrimmage. Far from timid, push it to the limit, rev the engine. You know we gotta get it, Nick Nina. You know we gonna pick it, Van Ginkle. Take it to the business. Fins up till my life is finished. Say it with my chest cause I'm in it. A lie, no why, I admit it. New era, yeah, I division. A win streak, we just keep on winning. So I lose, tell them suck a limit. Bills with the Jets and the Winged. Miami talk dogs where you hear me.
Back in the beast mode. AFC, we tryna rap up the East Coast. Take shots, fall back, then reload. Get the pack, tryna slap up these foes. Anytime we hit the field, then we must play. And these boys going hard, man, I must say. Try to stay on one route like the busway. Tryna eat teams up like a buffet. Buffet. Eat the offense like a buffet. Eat the quarterback like a buffet. Eat the running back like a buffet. Eat the wide receiver like a buffet. Eat the whole line like a buffet. Eat the coach up like a buffet. Eat the fan base like a buffet. Stay on one route like the busway. I know the whole city rising. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. My intuition told me this. To trust the coach, he holds the gift. He knowing when to go with fit. So we knowing when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount. Super Bowl, yeah, we en route. I don't know when, but it's close. I don't want to overhype, but I just know I like it. So excited, you gon' notice now. You should notarize it. They say tour from that rock. Shout out to some more, and now it's time to lay the smack down. You think you Dwayne Johnson? Time to be the people's champ. Hit them with the people's elbows, stick together like it's Velcro. You think you could stop us? Hell no, all day I dream about sports. I think I need some shadows. Custom with some Dolphins colors, just to let them know we here. Yeah. I know the whole city rising. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
To a time, to a time. Really hope he the man. Hope we found us a gem. Like the Heat found Bam. Wanna take time to thank Fitz, cause he put on the show. But the young man up, in the whole city know. Time to catch all the blessings. Cash out on the investment. Ball out, don't choke. Fins want all the smoke. Chris Gregg gave hope. Coach flow like spoke. Damn Marina still a goat. But to a man on go. Watch to a man throw. Watch to a man scope. Watch to a man issues that we never ever seen before. Fans up, let's win. Going ready for a ring. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6. It's damn week, use 10.
I know the whole city rising. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
So low, so low, so low. So low, so low.
D Miami Sports Music, salute. What's up? We got Finger Licking live.
turnover chain, 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 turnover chain. You see big homie get the fumble, he get a turnover chain. See big homie get the pick off, he get a turnover chain, 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 turnover chain. You see the whole crowd going user, we want the turnover chain. See the whole crowd going crazy, we want that turnover chain, turnover chain. Turnover chain is deeper than jewelry, deeper than blink. It's deeper. See, this is our thing, and you was the team, it's strictly for Kane. Invented the swag, you rented and brag, but we want it back. Let me get that. But you can keep the old one, cause we keep something new in the bag. All of these players is hungry, don't come in here thinking it's funny. We aiming for something, rocking the chains when it's sunny. Even when raining or slumming, we ain't gonna be slumming. I hope your quarterback don't think it's sweet. The defense will make them take a seat. And if somebody strip the ball out, then somebody get a Cuban link. Now you know how it go with the fans though. We be going wild out in the stands though. If you're not with the team, you're not familiar. If you throwing U's up, you're not familiar. Come on, get loose like a band, trombone. Throw 3 or 5 up, my home. CWA, tell them about it. All the K's going wild when we yelling this out. Turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain, turnover chain. You see big homie get the fumble, he get a turnover chain. See big homie get the pick up, he get the turnover chain, 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 turnover chain. You see the whole crowd going user, we want the turnover chain. See the whole crowd going crazy, we want that turnover chain. Turnover chain.
So low, so low, deep. So low, so low, so low, deep.
It's some K's over here. It's some K's over here.
I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D. That's right. How's everybody doing today? We are live here. Good morning, good morning, good morning, family and Finlaws. I'm having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday morning. And you want to know why? Because I'm here with you. That's right. That's what I'm doing. Super excited about hanging out with you all today. Want to give a big shout out to a whole bunch of people. Got a lot of things to kind of go over this morning, some house notes, and then we're going to kind of get right into the show today because I'm super excited about my guest co-host that I'm going to bring in here in a minute. Number one, I want to give a big shout out this morning to everyone that has been on social media and been sharing stuff. You guys have been doing a great job because look, there's been a lot of things that have been going on in our community, like the Surfside building collapse. And so I want to remind everybody that if you donate to the show, right, 50% of all donations this week will go to support the families displaced in the Surfside community. And you guys have stepped up a little bit last night, and so I appreciate that. If you guys want to make a bigger or quicker impact, donate with these two ways, PayPal and Cash App. If you guys pause the screen, you guys can use the QR codes up there, and you guys can get right to the PayPal for Miami Sports Music Podcast Network as well as the Cash App, because we want to be able to help everybody that's in need. There's a lot of displaced families, and Miami Sports Music is going to be doing a lot of things to help some of those displaced families, so I'm super excited about that. Look, we have a lot of goals to hit today when it comes to hitting that like button. That's right. I want you guys to go hit that like button. I don't know what y'all are doing right now, but if you haven't hit that like button, you better do it now. We're at 16 likes already this morning. Super excited about that. So make sure you guys go hit that like button. Also, if you haven't become a member of the channel, you probably should do it. You want to know why? Because you guys can be like my man Big Time and Chef Jew. Shout out to them in the chat box this morning, and A-Rod. Everybody that is part of the channel, thank you very much, and we want that to grow. We haven't had a new member to the channel in a couple of weeks now since I've been gone. So look, we got a lot of cool things coming out, a lot of new content. You want to know what we do have coming out that was announced on social media last night that you guys might have missed? That's right. Allie's new show, Dolph Freaky, will be dropping live July 5th at 8 p.m. only right here on Miami Sports Music Podcast Network on the YouTube channel. So I am super excited about that. We're actually going to do a live digital countdown show at 7:15. Before that, it'll be me, Jamie Bahamas, and Dolph Freaky. We're going to talk about her new show, what kind of things she's going to be doing. It's going to be awesome. I really want you guys there. And look, if you are already a member of the channel, you will get access to her show an hour early. So please sign up to become a member of the show. You guys get different perks. It's awesome. It's amazing. And I want to see you guys become a part of that. So make sure you guys go check that out. And also, in other news, where are my Spanish speaking people at? If you speak Spanish, put it in the chat box because I want to know. Look, starting in a couple of weeks, we're going to be having a Spanish speaking podcast that is going to be run by the Mexico Dolphin fan club. Armand, Chochos, and Paris from the Dolphin Mexico fan club are going to be doing weekly a podcast in Spanish for the Miami Dolphins. It'll be called the Hellfins Podcast. So I am super excited about that. More to come on social media. So make sure you guys are following at Miami Sports Music or at MIA Sports Music. So I am super excited about having a Spanish-speaking podcast because I don't think there is one. And if there is, I'm not too sure how many people know about it. And if please let me know. But I am super excited about having a Spanish-speaking podcast specifically on the Miami Dolphins. And I want to give a big shout-out to the Mexico Dolphin fan club for putting that up. It's going to be a good thing. I'm pretty excited about it. And then last couple of things before I get the guest in for today. On tomorrow's show, I'm going to have Jason Sarney, the lead operator for finsmaniacs.com. He's going to be my guest tomorrow. We're going to talk about his website, the podcast, and so much more. And we're obviously going to talk about the hot topics for the Miami Dolphins. So I'm super excited about having Jason on tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I want to have the queen herself, Miss Dolph Freaky. Dolph Freaky will be my co-host with me. Super excited about that. We're going to talk about her show. We're going to talk about the things that are coming on. So make sure you guys are here on Thursday for that show. But you know what? You guys are here this morning. And you know what you guys get this morning? You get one of my best friends in the world. That's right. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the mountain man himself, all the way out in Denver, Colorado. I'm talking about Mr. Wade O in the building. I am super excited about Wade coming on. So without further ado, let me bring in the man himself. What's up, brother?
What up, brother? I don't know about that myth part, but no, I'm here. I'm here.
You are here, brother. I am super excited about that. For those of you who don't know, Wade runs the podcast, What Would Shula Do? And also the clothing line, What Would Shula Do? So make sure you guys go check that out. That's going to be super exciting. You got some new shows planned ahead in the future in the coming weeks as we get ready for football season. Are you ready, man? Less than 100 days.
Man, is it all right? I keep just seeing, I wait for somebody to send me one of those things with one of the players' jersey numbers. So we don't remember, like Mike Pouncey's 50 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's how I keep track of it. So it's been a different thing since we lost our boy Jay. He used to do the countdown every year.
I know. Shout out to Jay Villa, RIP to him. So I am super excited about you being on the show this morning. So there's a few things that I kind of want to get into before we get started. So let me kind of back into that, and we'll get started on that. So look, a couple of the things that I have is the Dolphins topics that we talked about yesterday, and a lot of things that I want to get into this morning. So first things first. Wait, you got kind of like an echo, so I want to help you out with that. If you got kind of a reverb coming through the microphone that you have there, just want to let you know. I want to kind of talk about what's going on in Miami. As far as training or about to be on the brink of training camps concerned. All right, I'm gonna remove you for a second. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come back. All right. So I'm gonna bring Wade back in. I'm gonna have Wade fix his microphone this morning. But yeah, look, I want to remind everybody to do in the chat box #Dolphin Chat. We got a lot to talk about this morning, and I am super excited about that. So make sure you guys go check that out. All right. You there, bud?
Steve, you better?
No, not really, but we'll see. If you're in the chat box, got a lot of reverb. Do you have your headphones in?
No, you know what? I just took them off because you were saying you had the echo. I don't hear it on my end, man. We're good over here. But
okay, there we go. I think that's a little bit better right there. There we go. All right. Now I think we're good. Okay, so first things first, man. Tell me what you think about this Xavien Howard situation because I think that's the topic of everyone, and I just kind of want to get your thoughts to begin with.
So are we talking about the real situation, or are we talking about whatever Omar Kelly's telling us is going on today?
Oh, my God. Please don't. Please don't. We're going to get too many people in the chat box going crazy hearing about him.
Listen, I think I said this to you, when I saw you the other day, but if I hadn't, I'll say it again. I'll say it for everybody out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard anything from X himself. I hear these reports and these rumors and this, that, and the third, but he's yet to make a statement. Sometimes when players, there's little things you can look at, right? When sometimes players have these actual issues, For example, X put some on Instagram the other day, and I'm not a big social media guy, but you go look, he still has all his Dolphin stuff up. He's not talking bad about the team. The coaches, like Flores himself came out and talked about, X is a team dude, he's a player dude. I haven't heard X say anything I haven't heard X say anything at all. But we definitely haven't heard anything that indicates that he has plans on holding out or anything like that. Like, the dude didn't go to OTAs. Veteran players, especially high-level veteran players, skip OTAs all the time. I mean, look around the league right now. Stephon Gilmore did it. Chandler Jones did it. There's a lot of these other guys that are out there. They just weren't the runner-up to Defensive Player of the Year last year. That's why you're not hearing about their names. Right? So until I hear X say something otherwise, I'm going to assume that he plans on coming to camp. And quite frankly, for that money, I don't know why he wouldn't. Like, yes, he's technically not making as much money as Byron Jones, but he's still the number 2 guy on our salary cap. He's still under contract for a few years. And, I mean, if I'm being honest, like, with Byron Jones' production, we talked about this before, like, if he doesn't turn it up a little bit this year, I don't know if Byron Jones plays out his contract. I think what we're seeing right now is more a symptom of the NFL's salary system than anything. Like, there's a reason you don't hear about this as much in other sports, and it's because their contracts are structured very different. Like, example, NBA contracts are guaranteed. There's no, like, the NFL where it's part of it's guaranteed money, part of it's other stuff. Yeah, there's workout bonuses and stuff like that. But to me, I think that, a lot of people have brought this up and people have different views on it. I'm one of those guys like, hey, you signed a contract, you should honor the contract. But to be fair to him, I mean, the system the NFL has,
it sets it up for what we're dealing with right now. It sets it up for it.
Like, the team would clearly cut the guy if he wasn't paying, living up to that contract, and he wouldn't make all the money that's in the deal. So overall, I think this is really just an overarching problem with the way NFL salaries are done. I mean, there's good sides to it, and there's bad sides to it. But you see these teams every year that you're like, oh, they have no cap space, and all of a sudden they do a restructure of a couple players, and bam, they got $40 million. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff in the NFL salary system. But overall, I think what we're seeing with X is just more a symptom of that. I don't foresee him holding out. I don't foresee it being a problem deep into the year. But you know what? If it is, our boy No Way Mahogany was tearing it up at OTAs, man. So we'll see.
It's funny that you bring that up, and I want to get to Iggy in a minute. But what I do want to kind of touch on is briefly what you've talked about. Yesterday I was doing a lot of work. It was my first day kind of back in the swing of things since vacation, which, by the way, real quick, shout out to you for being a host out in Denver, man. This man picked me up from the airport in Denver because I ended up taking a later flight than my wife because Southwest Airlines was just absolutely nuts. So shout out to you and you and Roxy took me to this Korean barbecue spot. I have never in my life ate so good, and I'm a big guy, so that is saying a lot, Wade. That is saying a lot.
You gotta eat, bro.
If you guys want to know some Denver hospitality, this man right here definitely knows the definition of that. Look, what I do want to say though is, you look at the way Xavien Howard has been set up through his portrayal through the media, and what you see is a lot of silence on his part. I agree. Now, in listening to some of the podcast network affiliates yesterday, I went and listened to Dudley Do-Wrong's take on it. I went and listened to my man TD Finn's talk. I even listened to Reason last night on Finside the NFL. Shout out to all three of those guys. And listening to TD actually brought up a very cool point because he replayed an interview from earlier this year on another podcast that Xavien Howard was a guest on. And Xavien Howard said some stuff on that podcast that was very, like, nobody paid attention to it then. And I want to say the only person to really make light of it has been TD. And basically, and I'm paraphrasing what Xavien Howard said, but he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with the way the Dolphins have done things in Miami. Now, whether he's right or wrong, he's not happy. And it was very interesting to kind of hear that from the horse's mouth, that he felt like he had to go prove something last year on the field. And to his, accountability, he needed to. He hasn't been healthy a full season. He's played 60% of the time of his career, and he's consistently got, upgrades in pay. But you're asking us to put a 2 in front of his salary, and for somebody who doesn't play but 60% of the time. Now, I was with you in the beginning, and I was saying a couple of weeks ago, hey, look, Xavien Howard, he's not saying anything through his camp. All we're hearing is through, his representative, which I think is David Cantor. And agents are going to say whatever they want to say anyway. They're going to do what's best for their client when it comes to the financial part. But what I will also say is, you didn't hear anything from X, but hearing that interview, I don't know if and look, I'm wearing an X-Man shirt, okay? Let me give a big shout out to Zach, Not the Best Drawings, sent me this shirt. It is awesome.
Wait, is that what it's called? Not the Best Drawings?
Yeah. So
I thought you were taking a shot at the guy.
No. His thing on Instagram is called Not the Best Drawings. Go check it out. It's really, really cool. I had him as a guest on For the Fans, which will be coming back in July. And so he sent me this T-shirt. It's really, really cool. I'll put a link in the description of all his other T-shirts. But basically, that's what it is. So now that I know Xavien Howard's not happy in Miami, does that play a bigger role in how the Dolphins process this moving forward, Wade?
I don't think so, because again, I think it's a flaw with the system that the NFL has. Like, look, let me give you some numbers real quick. All right, so we're in 2021, so we'll skip that part, right? But if you go into next year, so in 2022, X's number on the cap is $14,375,000. The team can cut him and only pay out $2.8 million in dead money and save $11.5 million. The year after that is $13.4 million on the books. The team can cut him only have 1.4 million in dead money and save 12 million. And then the final year of his deal, he's on for a little over 12 million. The team can cut him and take 0 dead money. So this contract that he has, while yes, the numbers are big, it's extremely team friendly. And I think that may be the problem with it here is like, you mentioned he's had some injuries and stuff like that. If he were to get injured, let's say not this year, but or maybe even this year, right? And they decide it gets too much of a risk moving forward. Like the team can move on from him for very little dead money. And you're seeing a lot of this like team friendly stuff going on in a lot of these deals now. And we could talk overall, is it like a bigger problem with the system, which I 100% think it is, but that's not, what we're here. We're talking about X right now. Like the alternative is trust Noah to go into that role and try to find a trade partner for X. Now, when you're talking about trade, like I think the only 2 trades that have been recently you can kind of measure this by is the Jamal Adams and Jalen Ramsey trade. So both those players went for 2 first-round picks. And then I believe I may be getting this backwards, but I think Ramsey's deal included a 3rd and Jamal Adams included a 4th.
That sounds right. Right.
So who's the trade partner? What team has the cap money? What team has the draft picks, and what team has the need for us to do anything about this right now? I mean, there's a couple I can kind of bounce around in my head. Namely, I think Detroit, because they have so much draft capital from getting those extra draft picks from the Rams and part of the Matthew Stafford trade. But is that something we're willing to do right now?
Real quick, I want to pause you there. So here are some of the names for potential trade partners. Okay, Spotrac.com. The teams with the most cap space currently are Jacksonville, the Jets, the Denver Broncos, the Cleveland Browns, the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to say San Diego so bad. New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals. Right, of those teams, they think the Chargers and the Bengals would be the most 2 logical candidates for a trade for X-Man.
Well, most of them you just said are out of the books already. Like Denver, for example, they just brought in 2 corners on 1-year deals and then drafted Patrick Surtain Jr. New England, they're dealing with their own situation with Stephon Gilmore. They got J.C. Jackson, who is a very underrated corner on the other side. The Jets were obviously not setting in the division. Cleveland, I mean, Denzel Ward is one of probably the most underrated corner in football. Denzel Ward's a monster. He gets absolutely no credit out there. He's a big part of why their defense is playing so well. I mean, when it comes to the Chargers, the problem with the Chargers is, what are they going to give us? Are they going to give us 2 first-round picks plus something? Like, they have too many holes on their roster already. They have an upcoming injury decision to make about, Derwin James. I don't see it happening there. And in terms of the Bengals, here's the thing about the Bengals, man. As much as I was a fan of him and glad he got the job, I don't know if Zach Taylor makes it out of this year.
I agree. I don't think he should have been a head coach in the first place. That's just me.
I mean, he was not put in a good situation. Let's be very clear about that, right? He took over a very bad team, a team that didn't really have much going on, a team that moved on from, 2 of its best players over the last, over my lifetime, really. And they're not Andy Dalton wasn't even that great, but he was definitely one of the best players over the last decade or so. Same thing with the D end whose name I can't.
But hey, with that also being said, you have to remember Cincinnati has a big track record of letting a mediocre head coach for 20 years. I'm just saying.
Well, you don't earn the first round pick and then, you don't earn the number 1 overall pick and then only earn the 5th overall pick the next year. Like, they want to see something. I mean, yes, you can say what you will about Marvin Lewis, but you know what? He was mediocre. Zach has been bad. It just is what it is. So is it something that, like, maybe he, if he even has that type of control out there, I'm not sure how Cincinnati's structured, but is it something they're maybe willing to do to try to save his job? Like, if he has the power, maybe. But here's the thing. I love X, and X is great. That defense is not just X away from even being competitive, let alone great. You know what I mean? That defense is not that good out there in Cincinnati.
So, but the question on the table is, are there legitimate trade partners out there for Xavien Howard? And if so, what does that kind of look like? Is that a package of picks and players? Is that a package of high round picks? Is that because you have to realize if somebody takes Howard, they're going to give him the salary that he's asking for. That's one. And number two, if there's no legitimate trade partner out there and he ends up, saying, screw it, I'm going to hold out, and Miami plays chicken with him, and Miami's like, we're not paying you. Get on the field and play, which is something that could happen. Then you have to realize Miami then kind of is in a catch-22, although I like what you just said a little bit ago about the contract, because Miami could say, you can go ahead and play that game. We'll cut you with nothing on our books to cap money. And then on top of that, I think that could be a logical choice for the Dolphins.
So you asked a couple questions, so I'm going to answer them the best I can. So is there a trade partner? Absolutely. There's always a trade partner out there for great players. What would it bring in? I mean, we don't really see in the NFL often anymore where great players get dealt for deals that involve other good players. Like occasionally there's like a backup or something like that thrown in. But, over the last decade or so, the trend has kind of emerged where it's raw, it's purely draft picks. And we've seen us do that several times, right? Like think of the Laramie Tunsil deal, think of the Kenny Stills deal. It's not been for other starting players. It's been for draft picks. Currently, we hold San Francisco's first-round pick this upcoming year. But the year after that, we have both ours back and San Francisco's. So, could it happen for just players? It could, but probably not. It would probably be draft picks, especially the way Greer and Flores like to have their guys and the guys they want, not necessarily guys someone else is willing to give up. So the other thing you said about in terms of cutting him and all that, we're not worried about money. We have $55 million in cap space already next year. Before we even start looking into, is there a potential trade-off of getting rid of X or cutting X or whatever it is. In terms of him holding out, I just don't see. I mean, listen, the guy's 28 years old. If he wants to continue playing at a high level, which we know he can do, he can't afford to take a year off. He just can't. I don't know any players that really have taken a year off and stepped back into the game and been great. We've really only dealt with one true holdout over the last, decade or so, and it's been Le'Veon Bell, right? And you saw what happened to him. Now, granted, he's a running back, and he was going to a team whose offense really struggled, XYZ, but it's just not something that really happens much in professional sports. I mean, Antonio Brown's situation was a little different, but Antonio Brown is also, arguably one of the best receivers ever to step on the field. I love X, and X is playing at a very high level right now. He's not arguably one of the best cornerbacks ever to play the game. So I don't think he holds out. I don't think it would be smart for anybody, including himself. I think even his agent would probably advise him that, because if he does play at a high level this year, at the end of the season, if we can't find a trade partner and we do decide,
he's going to get any contract he wants from anywhere. I agree with that. Real quick, let me hit the reset button. Guys, if you're watching right now, we got 25 likes. Make sure you're hitting that like button when you come in. You're pancaking it, eat your breakfast, drink your coffee, and hit that like button. That's what you do in the mornings here at Clock Blockers, so make sure you do that. Number two, look, if you guys donate to the channel this week at all, I want to remind everybody that 50% of all donations will go to support the displaced families of the Surfside community. And the quickest way to do it is up here that you can see on the right, on the top here, is through PayPal and the Cash App. And the best way to do that is through MSMpodcastNetwork. So make sure you guys do that. You see the QR codes there. You guys can actually pause this, take a screenshot of it, use the QR codes. We want to be able to help out our community, our fellow Finlaws, people that were in that community in the displaced families. So make sure you guys are doing that. We want to be able to help out. The other thing I want to remind everybody to do as well is, if you are not a member, there are a lot of perks. There are a lot of new things coming down the pipe here. The Freak Show. Tell me in the comment section if you are excited for Dolph Freaky's new podcast, The Freak Show, coming out on Monday, July 5th. And if you are a member of the channel, you will get exclusive perks. So make sure you guys are doing that. We're trying to set that up. We need more people to sign up, become members of the channel. It's pretty awesome. So make sure you guys do that. Also, last thing, before we get back into anything, I want to remind everybody, too, if you haven't already, okay, if you have not already, you guys need to go check out my man's What Would Shula Do's podcast. And the way to do it is you go to Miami Sports Music Podcast, or the YouTube page, and you'll see a link there to all of Wade's episodes, What Would Shula Do? So make sure you guys do that. Make sure you guys check that out. It's pretty awesome. All right. Now, enough of that. Back to where we were. Wade, I want to kind of talk about something that has been on the minds of a lot of fans, and a lot of people have been reporting that this offensive playbook is not becoming something that players are learning quick enough. And fansided.com or finfanatic.com on Fansided, by the way, had an article that came out about 4 hours ago by Jeremy Klump. And basically it's saying that a lot of these players are not picking this up very easily. And one of the players that is picking it up is the quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. Finside Reason from Finside the NFL had on his Twitter, to expand on it, I was told Tua has been quizzed weekly with paperwork as well as whiteboard work, and Tua has passed with flying colors. He is one of the players who's picked it up best, I'm told. So it's very interesting. Yesterday, I kind of briefly touched on this, and I yelled at fans that we should not be talking about this. And now more articles have come out, and I feel like we have to address it, because I was the person that was saying yesterday, guys, check it out. It's OTAs. There is a learning curve. This is going to happen. Are we just being too critical right now because it's June, about to be July? Are we just, is this what this is, or is there really something to be said about this?
Of Tua, yes. Of everybody else, maybe not. I mean, let's be honest. The reason Tua's connected to this so much is because of his comments about Chan Gailey's playbook. And for those of you that, like I've said this a billion times, for those of you that don't understand, what Tua was saying there is that playbook sucked. That's what he was saying. He said Tua is a guy that's been known as studious, as quick to pick up the playbook. And what he was saying is this Chan Gailey playbook makes no sense. Like this new system is better. That's what his comments were pointed to. Now, is he picking it up? Yes, all these things are positive. These things are great. We want to see him keep going. Way too much was made of that rain day drill interception thing. For some reason, us Miami fans, it's like PTSD. I keep telling them, ever since Marino left, any quarterback that doesn't step on the field and be a Hall of Famer day one, they look at as, oh, we're screwed again for the next 15 years. I don't know why. Now,
well, I mean, look, it's like the girlfriend, it's like the boyfriend that knows the girlfriend has been cheating, but keeps taking them back. And in the back of your mind is, when is the other shoe going to drop? And that's kind of where Dolphins fans are. We're like, okay, look, here we go again. We got to deal with this all over again.
Well, we've been sold too much crap over the years, man. Like, we've been sold Culpepper, which I still attest that Culpepper's problem was they rushed him on the field too quick after that knee injury that he had when we signed him. We've been sold John Beck. We've been sold Chad Henne. We've been sold Pat White. We've been sold.
Were we really sold Pat White? He stepped on the field for 2 plays.
Some people bought it. People bought Josh Rosen. I made a video when we signed Josh Rosen. People were buying his jerseys, and I was like, please don't do this. And I was met with all kinds of negative crap. Like, whatever. I'm wearing the Tua jersey right now, just so everybody sees. That's my opinion on that. Now, in terms of the other players, sink or swim. Like, I've made comments time and time again about how many receivers we've had on roster. And it was funny because I was reading an article the other day. I think it was from Pro Football Focus. And they were talking about every team's like riskiest move this offseason. And for us, I don't know what anybody else here would think it is, but they said it was drafting Jalen Waddle. And they said very clearly, it's not because there's any sort of issue with Waddle's talent. It's because we have too many receivers. Why did we spend a pick that high on receiver, which is something I've been saying forever. Now, I'm not knocking Waddle. I'm happy with the Waddle pick. Let's not go down a rabbit hole with bashing Waddle. But what I am saying is, for these guys that are struggling with the playbook, Parker's shown his talent. Will Fuller's shown his talent. Waddle was a first-round pick. Every other receiver on the roster is fighting for a job. And I mean that very clearly. Like you mentioned Albert Wilson, I don't want to get Dolphins fans mad. I mean, Jakeem Grant, all these other guys.
Jakeem's gone. Jakeem is not on the roster week 1.
We'll see. We'll see. If 6 other guys can't learn the playbook and Jakeem Grant can, then he's on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same for some of these tight ends, Shaheen Smythe is on the last year of his deal. We got Hunter Long coming in. He's going to challenge some of these guys for a job. We don't want to go down the Gaziggy rabbit hole. We've talked about a lot. But, I mean, some of these running backs we got on the roster here. Dokes, Patrick Laird, like a lot of these guys, they need to prove. I mean, first and foremost, you know what play we're running, but then you can execute it well, and you can execute it better than the guys around you. The NFL stands for not for long. There was a bunch of receiver names we didn't even cover yet. Preston Williams, Reuben Foster, a lot of these other guys. Like, I like almost all the guys I just said, at least a little bit, at least for some type of role. But at the end of the day, you got to earn your spot. There's a 53-man roster.
Well, look, you kind of hit the nail on the head that everybody's kind of fighting for a playoff spot and a roster spot. And so to double back or piggyback on the original topic of learning the playbook, is that something that on June 29th, the coaches are saying, well, if you don't know the playbook now, how are you going to learn it by training camp? I don't think that that's the case. I think that these players are still on this learning curve and they're still learning in this process. And by the time they get to training camp, there's going to be – I don't think this is going to be an issue at all. And and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Remember with the rule changes now, right, we carry 90 players through basically the whole offseason, right? Well, through the preseason, right? So these guys will have time to prove that they can learn it and that they can execute, their role in it, whatever it is. But I mean, think of what our teams become. Like, we want versatility. We want the running backs that can pass block, that can run between tackles, that can run outside the tackles, that can catch the ball. We don't just want the one guy. We want the receivers that can run the entire route tree, that can block on running plays, that can be involved in these trick plays. We want the O-lineman that can run block, pass block, that can pull. We want the tight ends that can do it all. And we're just talking about offense now. You know what I mean? But those comments, I think, were geared towards the offense more than the defense.
Yeah.
But we want that versatility in players. So you may be a guy, get on another team, might never see the field and earn a role, only on special teams. But you might be a guy on this team that has a specific package that fits your strength, and they want you to be able to execute in that package, a la Christian Wilkins sometimes in our short yardage touch goal line situations. But in order to earn the roster spot and in order to earn that piece, we need to know that you can also step up and take the role we have designed for somebody else if they don't make the roster. You feel me?
I do, 100%. And then you kind of look at the front office. So AB, who I love, by the way, in the chat box, basically says, Greer lets Morgan Moses sign with the Jets to save $3 million. I'm about done with Greer. There are people that are critical of Greer. I am not one of those people. I think Greer is GM candidate of the year. But there are people that are like, so Dolphins fans, kind of going back to Dolphins fans, they kind of have a very short fuse, right? And PTSD. They're like, yeah. And so they're kind of like, all right, hey, look, man, we're not waiting 7 years again like we did with Tannehill. We're not going to wait, for the other shoe to drop. And so, and look, I know I shouldn't have said that. I saw your face, and I know where people in the chat box are going with that.
Bro, I'm going to start making T-shirts. They're going to say PTSD, post-Tannehill sack disorder.
Coming to Miami sports music near you. Pete, I like it, man. That's good. We're going to have to get Solo to make those. That is awesome. I agree. I think Dolphins fans have PTSD, and they're kind of like, hey, look, man, I'm done. I'm not waiting no more. So let's kind of – let me bring that up. You look at guys like Marvin Lewis and Jeff Fisher, and they got how many? They got, what did Cameron say? Morgan beep Moses, like he's a franchise player or something.
Well, this is my point. Like, all right, I can't believe we're seriously having a conversation about Chris Greer because of Morgan Moses. But like, what was Morgan Moses gonna do? How many snaps was Morgan Moses gonna play this year?
Not on this offensive line.
Like, serious question. You know what I mean? Like, Jesse Davis and DJ Fluker won't see the field if these other guys are healthy, hopefully. But in all seriousness, you dress 7 offensive linemen for a game. Like, would he even be on the active roster? Like, I don't – if you like the guy, cool. Like, I don't – he's not our savior.
Duke Tomlinson says, Chris, no running back Greer.
Yeah, but, listen. So I had a conversation about this specifically yesterday, specifically about Javonte Williams. So as you don't know, I live in Denver. Let me give you a little recap of how day 2 of the draft went. I woke up in my head going Javonte Williams. And it was selfish, right? Like, I'm an old school football guy. I want an every down running back whose jersey I can wear. Not because it may be the best thing for the team and not because it's going to take us to a championship, but because I played running back. I'm an old school guy. Like, some of my favorite players were running backs. Whatever. Yes, we need to upgrade the running back position. Be very clear about that. When the Jets passed on Javonte Williams, that was it. I was like, oh, we got Javonte Williams. Perfect. Cool. When Denver traded up, it's like, they drafted Javonte Williams? Like, what do we tell? Like, whatever. Like, I still thought we were getting Javonte Williams. When it happened, I was speechless. And then immediately the pick went in for Javon Holland, and I was fine again. Because Javon Holland covered a huge need. I said time and time again, we need to upgrade both the safety positions. Unfortunately, we didn't really upgrade the strong safety position, but I still think Brandon Jones is going to be playing a lot more snaps this year just because Eric Rowe can't handle it. But yes, we need to upgrade the running back position. However, all these other teams that spend big on running backs typically are in a different position than us already. Like, for example, the Steelers, they've been a perennial playoff team. They have a bunch of great players, all these other things. Like, the teams that go out and spend this big money on one player and think it's going to fix everything don't win. This is a team sport. This is why I get so pissed off when they talk about things like, oh, you judge a quarterback by his wins. No, you don't. It's a team sport. You judge a coach by the wins. So if
nobody was judging Justin Herbert by his wins last year.
Of course. So if the only thing we're missing is a running back, well, guess what? We got a whole draft class coming up in $55 million next year. We can go out and get one if what we have on the roster doesn't pan out, which I personally don't think what we have on the roster is going to pan out to be anything spectacular. And you know what? If we make this X trade happen, then we have a bunch of other picks to go out and get one next year. So if you fixed every other position except center, strong safety, and running back, guess what you're targeting next year? Center, strong safety, and running back. But 3 years ago, we had holes at corner, D-line, linebacker, O-line, quarterback.
I'm telling you, I think Greer's a genius, and I know people and the chat box don't necessarily agree with that. And by the way, for the Greer supporters, I need you guys in the chat box right now because there are definitely look. I think Greer is a genius. I think the way that he is taken some of the opportunities that have come to him and turned it look, Laramie Tunsil trade is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. There are not many GMs that could have turned around the Tunsil trade the way Greer has, right? And some of the picks that he's made have been very good. Like if you look at who's the guy? Jawan James. Jawan James wanted big money. We said, nope, see you later. Have a nice day. The man played 3 games, I think, in Denver.
Bro,
3.
Look at some of the moves that he's done. First of all, anybody actually giving us anything for Kenny Stills is a steal. Greer should be in the Hall of Fame just for that. But if you look at like the Tunsil deal, right? Like if you like what you've seen from Noah Benogany, from Austin Jackson, from Tua, if you like the Jalen Waddle pick, if you like the Jalen Phillips pick, if you like the fact that we still have 2 more first-round picks from San Francisco in the upcoming 2 years, that was all Greer's magic. We fleeced San Francisco for his 3 first-round picks. Look at the Robert Hunt pick. Robert Hunt was our highest-graded offensive lineman last year. And a lot of these people, when we drafted him, were like, who? No right tackle, dude. Liam Eichenberg is going to start at right tackle this year. And he should. Liam Eichenberg was another draft steal. We had 2 very good second-round picks. If you look at I mean, a lot of people, I still don't get how people can't wrap their head around this, but look at how cheap we have Devontae Parker on the roster for. $10 million. Like, that's pennies for what a lot of people play. The Will Fuller deal. Will Fuller was great as PFF as one of the best pickups this year, especially for how well he's been on the field and what he's making. And yes, I know he's had injuries in the past, but he played every game that he was suspended last year. Like, if you look at some of these moves, like even things like cutting Bobby McCain immediately after the draft, like not wasting time, like letting our team know, like, listen, Holland's going to be the guy. I love some of these moves that we made where we brought in guys and said, you know what, we're not going to take 2 or 3 years to say, hey, this just wasn't really, it didn't work out, like Kyle Benoit, right? We didn't let him sit around for 3 years and burn $10 million a year. We said, you know what?
By the way, I like Kyle. I wouldn't have had an issue if he was still on the team today.
I like
but
Kyle
I get
too.
it. But I get it.
You know, Eric Flowers, another one. Like, Flowers played okay last year, but we immediately recognized, like, listen, this isn't going to work long-term for what we're trying to do. We have an opportunity to address this position with Solomon Kinley, and you know, they brought in DJ Fluker cheaper. Like, and they moved on. Our regimes in the past are the Joe Philbin regime, or like when Tannenbaum was in charge, like they would hold on to these players just because they were their guys, and it killed us.
Tannenbaum. I think it's so funny watching him on ESPN sometimes and hearing him talk about the Dolphins and what the moves they've made. Because I'm like, bro, because you did any better when you were down here. Not at all. I think I don't know how he has a job analyzing teams when he couldn't be in charge of his own successfully. That's neither here or there. What I do want to kind of cap on, because I see people in here. Look, I love when the chat box goes crazy. So guys, use the hashtags Dolphin Chat, and make sure you guys also use the hashtag Clock Blockers, because I want to be able to use this stuff more often. It's good stuff. Let me kind of get into what people are talking about here. Let me read through some of these. Larry says, I'm a Greer supporter. That doesn't mean he makes mistakes. Duke Tomlinson says, no right tackle. Walk it like we talk it says, Tua will be blitzed. Miami Football Talk says, Chris definitely has been doing his thing. The way he has moved to get us everything we needed would have taken other coaches or GMs 2 to 3 years to do what Greer did in one draft. That article was a bunch of bull. I'm assuming he's talking about GMs. AB, Morgan Moses doesn't start for the Finns team. All things equal, let him go start for the Jets or Washington football team or whoever. Maybe his salary didn't fit the O-line's budget. Miami Football Talk says, Greer's awesome, and if it doesn't work out, we have more draft picks to fix the mistakes, and that's the way to do it. We have a plan A, B, and C. And then
space.
Exactly. And then ABB says, well, my answer is that would be cut Grant for Morgan. I don't even hesitate with that.
You guys with Grant, how much money do you guys think Jakeem Grant's making? Jakeem Grant's salary is $4 million. Like, I keep hearing, like, cut Grant, we need the money. Like, number one, we don't need the money. Number two, it doesn't free up that much money. And this isn't even anything in defense of Grant. This is just talking about the contract situation. Like, Grant brings the speed. Yes, we have the speed, and Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle and some of these other guys. But, like, we don't need money. Again, we're one of the highest cap space teams already next year. And that's before we even talk about, like, what happens with X. Do we do a restructure? That's before we talk about, like, does Byron Jones step up and earn his contract? Or do we end up having X and Noah starting, or a bunch of these guys? That's like, you know, do we extend Gesicki? Like, there's a bunch of other questions out there for sure, but like, we don't need money. When people talk about money, like, don't worry about money. Money's not the issue here. Like, is there an issue of our guys playing up to the amount of money they're earning? That's something that'll definitely be looked at, but we're not hurting for money. That's not what's going on in Miami.
I totally agree about that. Want to hit the reset button. Guys, if you have not hit that like button, we got 46 people watching, 33 likes. Hit that like button. Wait, tell them to hit that like button.
You get a hammer, smash it, something if you got a touch screen. River dance on.
River dance on that like button. I like it. Guys, hit that like button. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, it helps the channel grow. We got a lot of cool things that we're trying to do here. And we're trying to, grow. And part of that is with your help through donations. If you want to donate, use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which is the money sign at the bottom of the chat. Also, you can use PayPal or Cash App, as you can see at the top of the screen. Make sure you guys go and donate. Remember, any donation that you guys make this week, 50% of all the donations will go to support families displaced in the Surfside community. We want to be able to help out with that, so make sure you guys donate and let's be able to help our community grow. And last but not least, guys, if you have not already, sign up to become a member. Sign up to become a member. We got exclusive content for you guys. You'll be the first to get new content. Make sure you guys go check that out. All right. Next thing I want to kind of talk about with you, bro, is let's kind of talk about the Jalen Waddle video that we saw on social media. Did you check that out yet?
I haven't, man. I'm not a big social media guy. I normally hear about it from you guys.
Dude, basically all it needs to be said is the kid looks good. And, and not just good. I think he looks great. I'm looking at Jalen Waddle right now, and I know that people are like, well, quarterbacks have a chance to win Rookie of the Year. I think that Waddle could win Rookie of the Year. Is that outside the box? Too far outside the box. I know it's outside the box.
I think so, and here's why. It's because we're not going to be like one of those teams where just one player gets 100 targets and everybody else gets 20. You know what I mean? Like, that ball's going to get spread around so much.
Yeah.
Gesicki.
He's just not going to put up the numbers.
Long, right. And that's just the tight ends I just mentioned. Then we're going to talk about passing the ball to whichever running backs make the roster. Gaskin's going to get a bunch of catches. And then when we get into receivers, you got Parker, you got Fuller, you got Waddle, you got all these other guys. Like, I think not strictly because I don't know if he'll get the volume, you know what I mean, of targets. Like, I don't know if we're going to end up using him in special teams in some way. I know they've talked about that competition's kind of open. If guys like Grant don't make the team, then that's definitely more of a possibility. But I don't see him making Rookie of the Year because, A, receivers traditionally take a little longer to transition in the NFL. Now, I know as soon as I say that, someone's going to be talking about Justin Jefferson. Like, Justin Jefferson was the exception, not the rule. There used to be a thing in fantasy football back in the day where, like, you don't take a receiver until he's, like, 3 years in the league. Now, fantasy football is evolving this whole other thing. But
Well, Waddle looks special, right? Waddle looks special.
Well, you don't draft a receiver in the first round if he doesn't.
Well, it's funny. So Miami Football Talk says, no, not at all. It's definitely possible. Just depends on these yards a catch. Walking Like We Talking says, Waddle will be double covered from day one. Parker was the same way. We are way too obvious. Tyrone Hall says, Waddle's a slot receiver. There's no way a slot receiver is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Steve, I want to hold on to that last one because there have been a couple comments in here I really want to talk. Somebody said Grant makes $1 million a touchdown. But then he's putting up more touchdowns than most receivers because Amari Cooper's making $20 million and he ain't scoring 20 touchdowns. But talking about Tyrone down here, like, I don't necessarily know if that's true. I know I seem to be the only one with this theory, but I think we're going to see a lot more of Parker in the slot than some of these other guys.
We're going to see Will Fuller in the slot.
We could, but if it were me, I think Fuller's ability to stretch the field, I think he needs to be on the outside as much as possible. And I think Waddle's twitchiness, his quickness, and his route tree, I think we're going to want to keep him outside. If you look at what Parker did on a lot of these RPOs last year with Tua, like I've said this stat a couple times, but Parker tied for most contested catches in the league last year. And over the last 2 seasons, he's number 1 in the league in contested catches. A lot of those RPOs that Tua is so good at, and a lot of those quick, play actions and like when he has that first option read going right to Parker catches that ball more times than just about anybody in the league when there's a guy draped all over him. And because of his size, he takes 2 or 3 steps, catches that ball, falls forward another 2 or 3 yards. That's a 7-8 yard play every time. I would love to see Parker line up in the slot, Waddle line up on the left, and Fuller line up on the right, or vice versa even. I say Waddle on the left just because Tua is that left-handed guy. But whatever. I would love to see more. What's up, Danny? I would love to see more of Parker or even Gesicki for that matter in that slot role for those RPOs, because again, those quick plays, those guaranteed couple yard plays, we've seen New England do it to us for the entire Belichick era. They're great to move the clock. To move the chains. They're great for a young quarterback. They're great to beat the blitz, which everyone keeps talking about. How's the O-line getting handled against the blitz? Like, I would love to see more and more and more of that. Will we get it? I don't know, but that's my wish.
All right, so it's funny because it's funny when you bring up a topic, boy. People get in their feelings. Some people, but let me look at kind of what's been talked about so far. Stetson says Finn's family wants the quick fix, and when it doesn't work, we want to fire the coach and GM. So we need to trust the process. EM, what's up, EM? Having Waddle on the field will impact the run game and help other wide receivers. Waddle's impact will be bigger than stats. I agree with that. Probably that's the most logical outcome.
Duke Fuller, by the way.
Yeah. Duke Thomas says if you have an elite running attack, you keep the defense guessing if it will be a pass or a run. Stop accepting an average running game. Derrick Henry made Tannehill a playoff quarterback, period. You want to elaborate on that, Wade?
Derrick Henry made Derrick Henry a playoff running back. Like, Derrick Henry's great. I mean, listen, Henry's great, right? And I'm a fan of Henry. But
he's the best running back in the NFL.
In terms of the traditional power running backs, 100%.
Yeah.
But you remember, Henry took a couple seasons before he really turned it on in the NFL. And here's what I'll say about Tannehill. And y'all can meet me at the Denver airport and fight me about it if you want. Tannehill was never a bad quarterback. Tannehill ran for his life. Quite literally, he was, every year he was like a top 6 or 7 rushing quarterback because he had to when he was with the Dolphins. He never had a good O-line. Like, look at what happened when he got up there. He had protection. Like, he's throwing to, I like A.J. Brown, but he was throwing to a lot of nobodies even before, A.J. Brown really got there. But people forget when he was in Miami, he set the record for the most consecutive completions. Like, Tannehill was never a horrible quarterback. He was throwing for over 4,000 yards, which Lamar Jackson won the MVP award, yet has never done in a season, right? And he was doing it behind the worst offensive line in football for most of his career. So, yeah, they had a lot of things better up there.
The worst.
Right. Mike Vrabel was a better coach than Tannehill had. Like, he has a lot of things better up there. And in terms of a playoff quarterback, like, I hate these terms we throw around. Like, a playoff quarterback is a quarterback that plays a game in the playoffs. Like, that's it. Blake Bortles played a game in the playoffs. That doesn't mean he's anything special. You know what I'm saying? But Tannehill is. Like, Tannehill has always been good. There's a reason he was such a high draft pick. We did not put Tannehill in a position to succeed. We are putting Tua in a much better position to succeed, period. So, like, it's, again, I hate there's people that for some reason have this idea that football is just about one guy. It's whoever has the best quarterback wins. And yeah, when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's great, it definitely helps. But don't forget, Aaron Rodgers has the #1 graded corner in football last year. He's one of the best wide receivers in football last year. He's a really good running back at Aaron Jones. Like, football's a team sport. If you don't have 53 good players, if you don't have 22 good starters and a couple special teamers, if you don't have guys that are out there balling hard every game, you're not going to win. I don't care if you have Dan Marino. I don't care if you have Jim Thorpe. You know what I mean? Like, you need it's a team sport.
And I'm gonna bring up what everybody always tells me because I'm a Dolphin fan. Marino never won a Super Bowl either, guys. So you have to realize you have to put the whole team together, not just the offense, not just the defense. I would go as far to say, and I know this is a big thing, Wade, and please agree with me or disagree with me. I think this is the most complete team. I'm not saying we're where we need to be, but I think this is the most complete team on the offense and defensive side of the ball that we've had in the last 25 years.
I don't want to put a number on it, but it's definitely the most we've had in a long time. I mean, again, I've voiced this several times. I'm nervous about center, but, when you have another 4 good O-linemen, you can help, kind of cover that a little bit. I'm nervous about strong safety, and I would like to upgrade the running back, but other than that, I think so. I mean, this is definitely, I think, the best receiving core we've had in a long time.
Tight end group is great.
100%. I think
secondary is one of the best in the NFL.
I think Xavien Howard coming in here, dude. Like, we may have the best, especially these packages.
I said that like 2-3 weeks ago. I said number one secondary in the NFL.
And when I
nobody wanted to agree with me.
Where's the when I say that, I'm including what's going to happen at nickel, whether we see Needham there more or we see Coleman there. I'm including Noah getting some snaps. Because don't forget, Byron Jones missed some games last year. Everyone's talking about X's injuries. Byron Jones missed a couple games last year too. But when I say all around complete, here's the other thing. We're not like we were in the past. If you look at O-line, our O-line used to be 2 really good guys and 3 nobodies. You know what I mean? Now we have 4 pretty good guys. Yeah, we don't have a Jake Long or a Mike Pouncey like we used to that are arguably the best player at their position. But we have a bunch of guys that are really good, young guys that are getting better. When you look at the defense, specifically the front 7, what I love about that front 7 is that it's not built for anybody but Miami. The things we're going to do, we have players that are going to do those things very well and then come off the field so other players can come on and do those things. I talk all the time about Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins last year I might have played more third downs than Christian Wilkins did last year, right? But on first and second down and even on some offensive plays, Christian Wilkins played very well. You look at, I was my least favorite player last year besides Eric Rowe was Devon Godshaw. When Devon Godshaw got hurt, probably because he wasn't working out, because he wasn't working hard in the field, Raekwon Davis stepped in, and Raekwon Davis played extremely well. Raekwon Davis might be the best player on our team that no one's talking about, and I don't know why. Raekwon Davis was an absolute baller. I wanted him in the 3rd round last year. We got him in the 2nd. I'm cool with it. But Raekwon Davis played extremely well. You look at guys like Sealer and Van Ginkel. When we brought them on the field for specific things, they did them very well. You look at when they actually let Jerome Baker play outside, which is what he should be doing, and he balled out. I mean, probably the most iconic play last year, besides X's one-handed interception, was the 30-yard sack on Patrick Mahomes. When we came into that game, Mahomes had only thrown 2 interceptions all year, and I believe I knew he threw at least 2, maybe 3 against us in that game. But the thing is, we have players that are built to do what we need them to do. They may not be able to go somewhere else.
And by the way, I want to interrupt and say that is the Belichick way of creating a team, which is what I believe Flo and Greer is doing over here.
Who ran Belichick's defense for 10 years? Brian Flores.
He called all those ones in the Super Bowl.
This is not we've been saying this since Flores came to coach.
He wasn't running it, but he was a big part of it. He was an integral part of how that defense was put together and ran. And I'm telling you right now, I have never been so confident as a Dolphins fan. And a lot of people, you can be critical all you want. You can be critical all you want because there are things that need to be critical about. But if you're honest with yourself, this is a coach that's in the 3rd year of, or I should have put that in quotations, is in the 3rd year of a rebuilding process, right? Yeah. Dude, I think we have a GM that's out here making trades like he's on Madden. And at the end of the day, when you look at some of these positions, we're stacked. The depth that we have at the offensive line, the depth that we had at the wide receiver position, the depth that we have in the secondary. I'm telling you right now, having the best player at that position is great, but it's nothing without depth. And for the first time in a long time, the Miami Dolphins have depth at important positions that will help you make a deep run in the playoffs and are definitely going to help you with an extra game added to the schedule this year.
For sure. And I want to touch on something. I just lost it. Oh, so Duke down here is talking about Baker's getting the big bucks now. Well, number one, Baker's earned a contract, but is he? He's the 17th highest paid linebacker. And even when I look at corners, we're talking about X is the best corner, arguably in football. Jalen Ramsey, Marlon Humphreys, Tre'Davious White, Darius Slay, and of course Byron Jones are all making more money. Darius Slay, I was a fan of for most of his career. He's not anywhere near the level of some of these other guys. Tre'Davious White's good. He's not at the level of X. I mean, you could argue Jalen Ramsey, like that's something we can sit down and talk about. I probably don't even think Marlon Humphreys is as good as X, and he's making $4 million more, almost a 25% raise this year. Like, not only are these deals we're giving out team friendly, but we're also not breaking the bank. You feel me? Like,
100%.
it's like we made X and Byron Jones the highest paid defense or the highest paid corners, and that lasted about 37 seconds. And then these other guys jumped ahead of it. Like, and the same deal with Baker. Like, I was talking to somebody, I think one of the kids at 305, like, Baker's the 17th highest paid linebacker. Somebody was out there saying he was like 5th or something like that, or 3rd or something when it first came out. That's not true. You can go look at the stats. And, and it's just like the dude is playing very well, but he's not the best ever, right? He's not an all-pro every year. So you don't pay him all-pro money. Like, I think if they let him play outside more, like, yes, he can be a perennial Pro Bowler, but they're making deals that they're paying players what they're worth. It's not, I don't know, for years, Miami would go out and break the bank on the most expensive guy they could get, right?
You know how many Super Bowls? You know how many Super Bowls we won in free agency? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Well, how many in general? Washington was famous for this in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Like, at one point, their payroll was like, I remember it was a Sports Illustrated issue in like 2002. Like, their free agency spending that year was enough to buy like some country, and of course, it didn't get them anywhere. But Mike Wallace was the prize of free agency one year. Carlos Dansby was the prize of free agency one year, right? Like, where did they get us?
It brought us nowhere, which is another reason why delusional Patriots fan that's trolling in the box there. All right. By the way, I welcome all trolls and I welcome all fans of all teams in the chat box here. But I do want to let you know that is the exact reason why Belichick is scared. Belichick, for the first time in his entire career, paid money in an offseason. He is scrambling. He does not I respect Belichick. I respect it because I hate it that he wins so much. But I'm telling you right now, he's walking away from what made him successful. He is spending money in free agency. He's never done that before.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Has he ever had money to spend in free agency? Because he has spent money. Like, here's the thing. He has spent money. Like, if you go back and look at, they traditionally spent money in 2 places, cornerback and the O-line. And that's one of the things that ate their budgets up forever, right? Was they would get really good alignment. They would draft them. They would extend them. They didn't used to let O-linemen walk. Nate Solder was, one of the famously, like, one of the first O-linemen who was really good they had for a long time. They let him walk. Now, he had been there a long time. And he also committed holding penalties like crazy, but he was really good. But then the corners. I mean, think about the Darrelle Revis. Think about the Antonio Cromartie. Think about, like, for years, you know what I mean? They paid these corners, and they paid them kind of like we're doing right now. You know what I mean? But they had Brady was always on the books for $20 million, whatever it was. It wasn't the highest contract, but it was top 10 or top 6 or whatever it was. They paid the corners, they paid the alignment, and they only had so much money. You know what I mean? This year, especially with Cam making minimum wage, basically, they haven't extended Stephon Gilmore, which is telling. You know what I mean? Especially for a team that historically has done it.
Wait, real quick. This is what Eric just did. Eric just paid $5. Shout out to Eric. All right, Patriots suck. Also, how did the host manage to get uglier with each episode? That's what.
Eric, I'll match your donation if you can say something meaner to him right now.
Say it again.
I said I'll match his donation if you can say something meaner.
Meaner. I love it. All right, look. Miami Football Talk wants me to talk about something that was big yesterday, and I think we should talk about it, right? The Dolphins announced that they're going to have a second practice with another team. All right, so they already stated that they were going to do one, and now we're going to do with who?
I think it's Chicago and I think Atlanta is the other one.
So Atlanta was the first one, and now they stated Chicago yesterday. So I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty cool. Here's the thing. One of the biggest topics that I was talking about when I first started the show was 3 preseason games. 3 preseason games, right? So 3 preseason games is something that I think is going to play a big factor into this team. So I was like, you know what? Here's here's what's going to have to happen. What's going to happen is
Jesus, Eric.
these. What did he say? Wade absolutely sucks at fantasy football. I'll root for the Pats before I root for Wade to win in a week in fantasy football.
Now I just feel dirty.
Now, he did. You got to match it now. Everybody should go and match Eric Carrier's donation, $4.99. Or somebody wants to beat it, go beat it. Remember, every donation this week, 50% of all donations are going towards displaced families and the Surfside community. So, guys, go do that. I said that these players are going to have to be able to show their talent in some other way because there's not a lot of playing time in 3 preseason games for these players on the roster. And so now to have 2 practices with Atlanta and Chicago, actually, it sounds like there's going to be 4 because there'll be 2 with Atlanta, 2 with Chicago. And there's even a rumor that there could be a 3rd one with the Cincinnati game. So, like, dude, like, what do you think about that? Like, I think it's a big deal. I think it's great. I think it does nothing but help the intensity of practice.
So, I've hesitated to speak much on preseason because I'm curious. Like, historically there was kind of a rhythm to preseason. You know what I mean? Your starters didn't really play week 1. They might play like 1 drive week 2. They played like 3 quarters week 3. I don't know what that's going to look like. Like, I mean, they could very well say like some of our guys like X and Parker and Gesicki Jones and some of these like veterans and stuff like that maybe don't play at all. We'll see. I mean, I think that these guys are going to earn their chances in preseason based on how training camp goes. And if they play well, maybe they get a job. Maybe they don't. Let's be real. Like, a lot of our roster's set, and it's that hasn't been the case in previous years. But I mean, we know at receiver Parker, Fuller, Waddle, and probably Preston Williams, if he's healthy, just because he's in the last year of his deal, are going to make it. We know Gesicki, Shaheen, Smythe, and maybe Hunter Long are going to make it.
Mac Hollins?
I don't know.
I want Mac to make the team just because
I like him.
I like his stuff.
I can't say for sure he's going to make it. I mean, again, Hollins is going to compete at receiver with a bunch of these other guys. With Perry, with Bowden, with Grant, with Hearns, with Wilson, with Williams, with Foster. I mean, that's 8 guys competing for 3 or 4 spots. You know what I mean? Like, we know Byron Jones, X, Noah Benogany, Javon Holland. We know Jalen Phillips. We know Agbo. We know a lot of these guys ain't going on, right? So the roster spots that are up for grabs may not be as many as in the past. In terms of practices, I mean, let's talk about this real quick. Who do we play in October this year? We play Atlanta. Who do we play on the road next year? We play Chicago. Like, these things are strategic. Do I think that we're going to, it's going to be the end-all, be-all because we had a day or 2 of practice with some of these teams? No. I mean, a lot of it will be the younger guys but this is scouting, right? This is, hey, this guy may not make Chicago's roster. That's a spot over here. Hey, this offensive coordinator that we see calling plays over here, or this position coach that we see doing this for Atlanta, if they have another coaching turnover, may not be there. Maybe he has a place in our coaching staff. There's a lot of things that come out of this. This is why Flores has done the Senior Bowl, and we've done these joint practices and all these other things. And Eric, by the way, I agree with you with Smythe, man. Outside looking in, it sucks because him and Gesicki are so close. Like, if you check out Gesicki's social media, they're like chilling in New Jersey on the beach or some crap like that. Like, I think that if we do lose Smythe, it might, de-incentivize him to resign here, but also you got to earn your spot, bro. Like, Shaheen and Smythe are basically interchangeable. You got Hunter Long coming in. I don't know.
Guys, 43 likes. Let's get to 50. The goal was to get 25 donations today. We've only had 1. So hit that donate button. Come on, guys. Let's help the channel grow. Let's donate. Let's bring some great awareness to what's going on now in the Surfside community. There's a lot of displaced families. So let's do it, man. Let's be able to help out with that. Wade, tell them what to do.
do whatever Steven said. There's like a method, man. You got to get it. There's a manual. There's like stuff you got to click. And you guys know how to do all that stuff by now. Go help out the Miami people. Don't be delusional like the Patriots fan down there. By the way, saying Fitzmagic played well last year, that is delusional. All right, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's playing well. That's delusional. But yeah, hey, I don't live in Miami, right? But I spend a lot of time in Miami. For those of you guys that don't know, Surfside is basically if you hit South Beach, you just go north for a while. It's like a calmer, cooler South Beach without as many clubs and drunk people. It's a really cool spot. A lot of people retire down there and stuff like that. So a lot of people that are affected are going to be in a rough spot in more ways than one, right? Not only death, not only losing family members, all that stuff, property destroyed, but also like where are they going to go? A lot of them are retired. They're on lower incomes, all these other things. So go help out the Miami community. We're going to trash their neighborhood when we go celebrate our Super Bowl win for sure. So we owe them in advance.
I do like that one. Yeah, guys, donate to the channel. Let's make it happen. 45 likes. Hit that like button. Let's go. If you guys want to ask a question, use the hashtag Dolphin Chat, and I will get Wade and myself to answer your questions. So let's get a couple of those questions in before we get out of here today. I want to know what you guys have to say. And before we kind of get going into that, I'll let you guys get the comments in there, and I will let you guys listen to these guys real quick because I think they know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club. I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it.
God, I love those guys. Don't you love those guys? Those guys are pretty awesome. All right. Great One Divorce says, do the Dolphins make the playoffs without Xavien Howard?
I mean, yes. Of course I'm going to say yes. I don't know, who knows? Like, there's so many factors that go into this stuff, right? Like injuries and all kinds of stuff. Can they? Yes. Do I think that, we can be Super Bowl contenders without Xavien Howard? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm a fan of Noah. I like Noah. I like what I saw him do last year. I like, all the news about how, you talk to a lot of people about OTAs. He was the standout player at OTAs, right? In a lot of people's opinion. So can we? Maybe. But other people have to step up. Again, I've been very critical of Byron Jones's play last year, especially for what his contract was. Xavien Howard needs to prove he's the guy I think he is. Our front seven needs to continue to be able to put the same kind of pressure we did last year. The O-line has to step up. There's a lot more to this than just Xavien Howard. Now, yes, in the playoffs, you pack your defense in your run game, and we're not sure what our run game looks like right now. Greer and Flores have both been adamant that the pieces of Will Fuller and Waddle and that speed stretching the field is going to help the run game a lot, which it could, right? It all depends on what the scheme's going to look like. I like the fact that we have an offensive coordinator dedicated to just the run game, right? Like, hopefully that is a big boost, because if not, if our run game's horrible, again, that guy's for sure out of here. So I know if my job is on the line, I'm working hard. But can we make the playoffs without X? Yes.
EM Baller says yes. EM Baller says yes, they will make it. Noah will take the big leap. Awesome with the $3.99. Now the donations are starting to come in. Let's go, guys. Like it. Because Great One Divorce just donated $5. Let's pick it up, guys. Come on, let's keep that train moving. Like it. Let's see here.
What up, Angel?
Oh, yeah, right. Angel wants to know, why is a Pats fan here? Might be an undercover Dolphins fans. Come out the closet already, bro. It's 2021. It's okay.
The New England people, man, they're a little soft these days, man. They moved down to Florida because it's too cold up there.
I don't know if you know the answer to this one, but Walk It Like We Talk It says, what is our run-pass ratio this year?
man, you know, I think typically in the NFL now it's closer to like 55-45 or even 60-40 for a lot of teams. Like personally, I wish it was closer to 50-50. With what we have at running back, I don't know, man. I mean, here's the thing. Like, look at last year, right? We didn't really add a new running back to the roster outside of Malcolm Brown. But also look at what happened with, like, Gaskin was hurt last year.
Hey, real quick, hold on. I want you to finish this. But Eugene Hart Sr. with the $50 donation, the highest donation ever on this channel so far. So shout out to Eugene. I had to interrupt you for that, bro. That's huge, man. Shout out to you, Eugene.
If you're throwing some money around, bro, I'll take some too. You know, whatever you got going on down there, buy some shoes.
Everybody needs to give a big round of applause for Eugene. Eugene, thanks, man. And like I said, 50% of that will be going towards displaced families in the Surfside community. And guys, let's not stop there. Let's keep it up, man. Can anybody beat the $49.99? And look, a dollar at the end of the day helps. So let's get those donations up. Come on, guys, let's go. The goal was 25 donations today. And I think we're at 5 now. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it going. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, man. I apologize.
No, you good, man. Eric, we're talking about Patriots fans, bro, not you. But no, man, like, I mean, look, like we had a ton of injuries last year, right? We decided that we just didn't like Jordan Howard. Kind of the same with Breda. But then, like, you know, Gaskin got hurt, Laird got hurt. I mean, Ahmed was an undrafted free agent we picked up in the middle of it, and you know, he even was a little banged up near the end. And yes, Ty, you're right. We had a dope in the 7th round. But my concern is that not only production, right, but also health. Like, you know, everyone has made a lot of comments about, and I don't know if Scarlett makes the roster, by the way. I hope so, but I don't know. But, and, you know, everyone makes these comments about, like, well, Parker's been hurt historically. Will Fuller's been hurt historically. You know, Grant's been hurt. Hearns has been hurt. Our running back room don't look much better when it comes to injury history. You know, like, so what's our ratio look like? Depends on who's healthy. Depends on who's stepping up and performing. We could very easily end up replacing, you know, a lot of that run game with the short pass game. I don't necessarily love that approach. I mean, it works great in Madden. I'm not a big fan in real life, but I don't know. I think it's too early to answer that question. You know, there's a lot of factors there, man. Who do we play? You know, we play a team like the Rams where Aaron Donald's crushing the line in front of you every game. Like, yeah, you're probably going to throw a couple more screens and short passes than you're going to, you know, hand the ball up the middle. But I don't know. 70-30 pass run.
All right. Rob G with the $5 donation. Welcome back, Steven. Welcome back, Rob. I missed you yesterday, brother, but I am super glad that you're back. And thank you for the donation. Rob, you got to run for your money. Yesterday we had the highest donation, and then that was beat today by my man Eugene. So, you know, people are trying to take your top spot for being the number one donator of the channel. So let's go, guys. Let's pick it up. M Dolphin fan says 55-45 is ideal.
Yeah, so go up. I think Cameron just put it in there, right? And he talks about Jordan Scarlett.
If Scarlett excels in STs, he will make it over Laird.
So I want to talk about Laird for a second, because Laird is like the perfect example of what I'm talking about with some of these guys having a specific role in the team. If you remember his first year, Laird, they were calling him the intern because like some of the players literally were like, I didn't even know he was part of the team, right? And when we had all those injuries and we were trying to see what we had, and when I was screaming to get rid of Kalen Balazs and some of the other Miami sports music guys were going, no, he's great. What are you talking about? Like, Laird earned a spot on the roster. And if you look at what he did, he was pass blocking and he was catching a lot of stuff in the screen game, right? Like that was kind of the role he carved out. He's still on the roster 2 seasons later, right? He's one of those guys that they know they're paying pennies on the dollar that fits a specific, you know, kind of segment of what they want to do. He has a very specific role. Does that mean he makes the roster for sure? I don't know. Maybe not. Like can he catch the ball like Gaskin can and turn around and burn people for 80 yards down the field? Absolutely not. And I will continue to disrespect Kalen Balazs. I see his comments.
Great one, DeVore. Don't be done with us. Don't go, great one. Don't go.
Listen, he's from right down the road in Colorado, right? I'll go see. True story, no lie. I went to like a work outing thing one time, my girl's job, and of course I'm wearing my Dolphins gear, and all her like coworkers and stuff come. And one of the girl's boyfriends was, oh, you're a Dolphins fan? Hey, my friend of mine plays for the team. It's Caleb Balash was from that area. And I'm like, oh, really? Who? And he goes, Caleb Balash. So that was right after Caleb Balash, I believe, had the lowest yards per carry average in history for a running back that had at least 50 carries or something like that. Anyway, my point with Laird, right, is that these guys like a Scarlett, like a Ahmed or whoever, they can make this team because they fill a specific role. Now, are they gonna? Who knows? It's all going to be about who's working hardest, right? Who's filling that role the most? Who's learning the playbook? To Steven's comments earlier. But I'm not going to sit here and speculate over who's going to be the fourth or fifth running back right now. Like, quite frankly, it's just it gets a headache and a half. And it's not worth it to nobody because it's probably going to be wrong. So, do I hope the run game sticks? Absolutely. Do I hope we can run the ball way more than most teams? Absolutely. Do I see it happening this year, at least to the point I want it to be? No. But I do think it's going to take a step in the right direction.
Ty Bless says teams need to run downhill more. All read option runs are weak. Get a fullback and smash at it. Days of fullback in the NFL are over, brah.
They are over. Christian Wilkins.
Cameron says Balaj turned one huge game at ASU into a draft pick and NFL contracts. Hashtag respect.
Remember we traded him to the Jets and they sent him back because he failed a physical, and then we cut him and they signed him anyway.
I remember when we played against the Chargers that he was the starter because their starter got hurt. And it was like, oh my God, how this man still has a job and the NFL is beyond me. Is beyond me.
When these people make these comments that you hear all the time, running backs are a dime a dozen. I go, tell that to our roster when we've had literally a dozen running backs start over the past couple of years, and we've only paid them a dime, and that's why our run game is crap.
Guys, get a couple of more of your questions in before Wade has to go. I don't want to hold up Wade today. I know you got a lot of stuff to do. But I do want to get a couple more questions in for today. And also, guys, hit that like button. We're at 48 likes. Hit that like button. Let's go. Can we get to 60 before the show's over? Also, guys, donate to the channel. 50% of all donations will go to support families displaced in the Surfside community. Right now, the highest one we have is from my man, Eugene. Eugene donated $49.99. Shout out to Eugene once again for donating in the chat to the channel. A big deal. And then also want to give a shout out to my man EM Baller who donated $3.99. So let's keep them coming. It's doesn't take much to help some of these displaced families, even $1. So look, man, go ahead and donate and hit that like button. We're at 50 likes. Can we get 10 more? Let's go. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if anybody asked a question. Duke Tomlinson, would you guys let Waddle return kicks, punts this season?
It ain't about it's about, is he the best guy for the job? Like, if someone else is on the roster that's better at it, then they get the job. I don't like that. Like, they did this with Devin Hester for a little bit in Chicago. Like, I don't like this whole, well, I'm worried about him getting hurt on specialty. Like, any player has a chance to get hurt anytime around the field. You put the guy on the field that's going to give you the best chance to succeed. If Waddle's the best guy for returning punts and kicks, if Grant's gone, I know you guys love Grant so much over here in my sports music, but Grant has been a very good return man, right? If Grant's on the roster and he's the best guy for the job, let him do it. If that's Waddle, let him do it. Like, if these guys are training right and working hard and doing all these other things and conditioning and all, like, I don't understand the concept of, well, let's take them off the field so they don't get hurt. Why'd you draft them if you don't want them on the field?
I mean, I don't disagree with you. Dolphin Dan says, respect to you, Stephen and Wade. Great start to my day. No, respect to you for starting out your day with the #1 morning show, Clap Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, a network made by the fan for the fan. So let's keep it going.
Are we still talking about Caleb Balaj?
Great One Divorce says the Balaj hate is real up in here. Real. Salvan Ahmad can return.
Yeah, I mean, again, if he earns the job, like Wilson could return if he earns the job. Like, do I think we're going to give it to Wilson? No. But I mean, there's a couple guys on the roster that could be in that role. Some of these young receivers, some of these young running backs, even some of the young, D-backs that we have. So, look, I know that's how Waddle got injured, but I mean, again, he could get injured on any play. Like Waddle's, I think he's $185 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, he could get hurt on any play. Any player could get hurt on any play. Like, we drafted a guy in Ted Ginn Jr. who was one of the best return.
Please don't bring that name up. Please don't bring that name up.
Listen, he was one of the best. You say what you will about him as a receiver. The dude had a very long career. He worked hard. He there's a lot of other players that ran the league way before him, but he was one of the best return men in the history of the game. He got hurt at Ohio State.
Could have had Aaron Rodgers.
I feel you, but that's not what. I mean, we could have, won the Super Bowl by paying off a ref in the 70s, but it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't want to talk about it. But, like, he got hurt celebrating a touchdown at Ohio State. Like, guys get hurt, anytime.
Off weird stuff. It doesn't matter. You don't
That's what
have
I'm
to be
saying.
doing anything. You're right.
If we're worried about how fragile somebody is to the point where, like, they shouldn't be on the field, then they shouldn't be a Dolphin. They shouldn't be in a locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, the guy I'm worried about getting hurt more than anything is Albert Wilson.
Yeah,
and I know you wanted to talk about him a little bit. Like, I don't want to take away from this. Like,
let me pause you because I want you to get into Albert Wilson. Shout out to Rob G, $5 donation with the Keep It Up super sticker. Shout out to Aaron Barber with another $5 donation. Said good job, guys. I appreciate the love. Donating to the channel and also donating to the displaced families at the Surfside community. Let's keep those things rolling in. Go ahead. Talk about Albert Wilson. Oh, Angel with another one. Angel with a super sticker as well. Let's go, Angel. Guys, keep them up. Let's go. Shout out to you guys donating to the channel today. I appreciate the love, guys, and I'm excited to see what we can do to help some of these displaced families. So let's keep them rolling in. Talk to me about Albert Wilson, bro.
Listen, maybe the best thing Wilson did was restructure that contract last year before he did the opt-out. Like, I truly think he was going to get cut before he did that. And he went from, and I don't remember the exact number, so excuse me, but I want to say he went from like 8 or 9 million he was supposed to make down to like 2 or 1.5 or something like that. And that kept him on the team, right? Yes, he did the COVID opt-out eventually, but the reason he's going into camp with his team right now is that Wilson has shown, just like some of these other guys, just like Perry and Bowden did last year, he is very good at specific things. One of the big points I want to make is, like, Wilson got hurt, was 2 years in a row, whatever it is. We had him doing these, like, running back style sweep things that weren't really in his wheelhouse. But we were trying to take advantage of, his natural abilities because we didn't have. I'm sorry. I love this Brady Quinn like, I want to do 20 minutes just talking about Brady Quinn and how you never know with these guys. Like, for every Aaron Rodgers,
I wanted Brady Quinn.
Bro, there's a Brady Quinn. There's a Brandon Whedon.
By the way, I'm pretty sure Brady Quinn was on our practice squad for a minute.
But there's pretty much look at any quarterback the Browns have drafted before Baker Mayfield for like 10 years. And for every Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, there's one of those guys. Anyway, we try to take advantage of Wilson's, physical tools because we didn't really have much else there. Like, now we do. Like, these guys like Perry, Bowden, Wilson, Hearns, Grant, they all are, they're kind of similar. They can do some of the same stuff, but they all have some different abilities. Grant has the speed, right? Hearns has, much better size. These Bowden, Perry, like Perry specifically, I would love to see us do some crazy stuff with him. Like, remember, he was not only a quarterback, but he was a very successful option quarterback out there in Navy. I think he set like the yardage record for the NCAA or something crazy like that. But a lot of it, wasn't passing. A lot of it was running. But I mean, you talk about Wildcat and option and all this other stuff. So Wilson, will he make the team? I don't know. If he does, I truly think
Wilson's good enough to. And the rumor is he looks good in OTAs, and he knows, and he's picking up the playbook.
Well, I mean, let's talk about Preston Williams. Like, Williams is on the last year of his deal. He's been hurt. Does he earn a roster spot past this season if he earns one this season?
Well, Wade, here's the real question. 6, 7, or 8 wide receivers. How many wide receivers do we keep, right? Because that's going to determine who gets cut on this roster.
So I'll say this. I think it depends on what we do with Perry and Bowden. Because technically, Bowden was listed as a running back first when he came over here. And with our holes at running back, do we keep one or even both of those guys as something like that? Do we keep Perry as even like an emergency quarterback, type of thing? Here's what it is. Fuller, Parker, unless we get some kind of trade offer, and Waddle have guaranteed roster spots, right? So let's say for the sake of this argument, we keep 4 receivers besides those 3, right? That puts us at 7, which I don't think it'll be 6. I think it'll be at least 7. So of the 7, or of those 4 spots, you have Hearns, Wilson, Grant, Reuben Foster. You got Preston Williams. You got Perry. You got Bowden. You got Hollins.
Some of those guys are real contract friendly too. Don't forget that.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
Most of them are. Like,
yeah.
Grant's making $4 million. I think Hearns.
Allen Hearns is like
5 or something. Like, yeah,
2. I think it's
small. But and those are the highest paid ones, I think, out of all those guys. Like, a lot of those other guys, a 5th round pick by the Raiders or something like that, or we gave a 5th round pick.
And if you're looking at that too, if the talent level is right there, that don't think that the talent level is going to make a difference on who's on this roster. But if you have 3 guys with all similar talent, it's going to come down to what contract is better for the Dolphins.
We'll look at the skill sets too, right? Like, I hate to be this guy, but let's say we are planning on getting rid of Gesicki. Well, that leaves Parker as really the only big guy under contract next year, right? So that might mean Preston Williams has a spot just because of his size, right? If we are going to move on from Grant, that might mean Wilson gets a spot just because he's going to be the fast guy out of that group. If we really want to worry about saving money and doing all this other stuff, then maybe we keep Bowden and Perry just because they're cheaper. And hey, are they DeAndre Hopkins? No. But the guys showed last year that they can play, right? I don't. You mentioned Hollins, man. I just don't.
I love Matt Collins. I do, but I don't think he has a place on this roster.
I don't either, man. And it's not against him. I don't see a way that, based on what we get from Waddle, Fuller, Parker, and
Walk It Like We Talk, it says you get what you pay for. Dollar Tree weapons.
Yes.
That might be the comment of the day there.
Let's talk about it. Why did the Bucs win the Super Bowl last year? Because they were loaded with talent at every position.
At veteran minimums.
Mike Evans, only player to ever have 1,000 yards receiving every year he's played the game. Godwin stayed cheap. It's funny because all the players I talked about, and people were ragging on me saying, oh, no, it's Brady. Because I was talking about Gronk and Antonio Brown and Leonard Fournette and all these guys, and they were like, oh, they haven't done nothing. Who scored in the Super Bowl? Those 3 guys who were all on stupid, cheap deals and who all took very short plays downfield and balled out, right? So, yeah, yes, you get what you pay for it. But you know what? Again, I've said this a billion times. I'm going to say this probably until the day I die. And I didn't even get to the defense, but yes, Devin White was a monster in the Super Bowl. He's one of the best young linebackers in football.
Guys, 53 likes. Hit the like button. Donate. Go ahead, Wade.
But no, that's again, it's about having a 53-man roster. You have a backup quarterback in case the starting quarterback goes down. You have multiple receivers in case you have injuries at these other positions. That's one of the things let's talk about Tampa. They were loaded with talent, but also they were healthy. All those guys we're talking about played in the Super Bowl. It wasn't like the Chiefs who were missing most of their O-line by an overwhelming majority in the Super Bowl. And I'm not making excuses for the Chiefs. But what I'm saying is, there's a reason you have depth. There's a reason you have guys with different skill sets. So if you had to put a gun in my head, I say we're going to keep at least 7. And I think that next 4, I think is going to be Preston Williams. I think it's going to be Bowden, Perry, and Grant.
Cameron says Hollins is a special teams weapon. He makes it. Health before contract will be deciding factor. Williams is a unicorn, but he's no good if he's not on the field. And then Rob G said he wants to see Kirk Merritt. Any thoughts on those two comments there from Cameron and Rob?
No. No. Yes, like Hollins, health is a factor for sure. Again, Hollins is this kind of hybrid, like he's bigger, but he's not the biggest. He's faster, but he's not the fastest. He has good hands, he has good route running, but he's not necessarily great at either one of them. I mean, listen, there's a reason we were able to grab him last year, like we were a couple weeks into the season, because Philly cut him. You know what I mean? Like, and with Merritt, to listen to everything I just said, I don't see a way Merritt gets ahead of even a couple of the guys that I don't think are going to make the roster, like, let alone. I just don't see it, man. And yes, hey, we don't know. Like, some of these guys could tear an ACL in training camp, God forbid, and then all of a sudden we're having a whole different conversation. Didn't think Jay Cutler was going to be our quarterback a couple of years ago, right? Like, it happened.
100%.
So I don't know. Like, I would love to have some of these guys on the practice squad. Now, to be clear, some of these guys are the caliber of guys that I don't think get to our practice squad, because I think if we don't put them on an active roster, some of these other teams might snatch them up. And if we do put them on the practice squad, I still think injuries in the middle of the season, another team would snatch them up off of our practice squad. But I think my big takeaway here is we want to see if Preston Williams can stay healthy and earn the job. Because if so, he could be somebody we extend very team-friendly next year, right, because of his injury history. I do think Grant makes the roster. I know a lot of people hate me for saying that. I think Grant would be gone by now.
I'm going to disagree with you, bro. There's no way he's on this roster week one.
You can't teach speed, dude. Like, we just talked about special teams. We just talked about how much they think the speed's going to help the running game. Like, if we wanted Grant gone, he'd be gone by now.
He's not making, like, there is no room for him in that wide receiver room. There's 8 or 9 wide receivers better than him on the roster already. And 3 of them are probably not even going to make the roster, right? So, whoa, Eugene, my guy. Shout out to you again with the $20 donation. Eugene stepping up his game today, man, guys. Y'all need to be more like Eugene. Let's go, Eugene. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for the donation. Big deal there. Dude, I don't see a way that he stays on this team. There's just none. We could trade him, we can release him, and they all work out better for the Dolphins financially. And number 2, if it comes from a standpoint of talent, there's just like, are you really keeping a guy with the sole purpose of returning kicks? Because that means you're probably keeping 8 wide receivers then, if not 9.
I don't
which
agree
is crazy.
I think
which is crazy, by the way.
Here's the thing. I don't agree that outside of the big 3 and maybe Preston, I'll say Preston. So outside of those 4, I don't think any of these guys are better than Grant. I don't think Wilson's better than Grant. I don't think Hearns. I mean, I like Hearns, but I don't think his complete skill set. I don't think he's better than Grant. I don't think Bowden and Perry are better than Grant. I don't think Foster's better than Grant. I don't think Hollins is better than Grant.
Cameron says Parker, Fuller, Waddle, Williams, Bowden, Wilson, Grant, Hollins, Perry, Merritt go to practice squad. Merritt go to practice squad. Okay, I got you. Rob G says Grant and Hearns are not making the roster. Doug says there should be room for Grant in the wide receiver room. He's tiny. Guy, yeah, that's not a reason that we're keeping him. With Grant, can't teach hands. Great One Divorce says he's the top guy in the return game.
So I think the consensus here is that Allen Hearns ain't making the roster. I think that's I mean, here's the thing, dude. Like, again, I'm looking at Grant's contract right now. Like, if we cut him, we're already post June 1st. So if we cut him right now, we save $4 million that we don't need.
Say that again. Say that again for people in the back.
That we don't need. Like, if we cut him next year, we save $4.3 million that we don't need. The next year we save $4.4 million that we don't need. His salary and his contract tops out at $5 million. I mean,
Who
he's
is
under
this?
contract. Grant.
Grant. Okay.
Yeah. Now he's under contract through 2023, so it's only 3 more seasons. Like speed guys, and I don't kill me here because I know we got Fuller and Waddle, and there's things that happen. You know, the game's a little different now, and you can extend speed a lot longer than you could traditionally. But traditionally, the speed guys top out at 30. Grant's 29 years old. So, like, do we do it this year? I don't think so. But here's something to keep in mind. Will Fuller's only on a 1-year deal. So maybe that's part of the reason we don't do it, right? Like, if Fuller's going to be our true elite
but
guy,
you said it yourself. This GM, this front office isn't scared of releasing somebody or getting rid of somebody. Like
no. But here's my thought, Steve. Here's my thought, right? If I truly think Fuller's on a prove deal. I think we like Will Fuller a lot. I think he's a really good receiver. I think we got him for a bargain. And if he can show that he can stay healthy and play the way he played last year, right, and continue to play at a high level, I think we're going to sign him for a longer-term deal next year, especially if we can get him team-friendly, right? Now, if that doesn't happen, we still have Grant on the roster cheap to stretch the field. And whether he becomes a guy that has great hands or what, that's one thing. But with his speed, you can take the top off of the field. And when you do that, you open it up for the run game. You open it up for Waddle and Parker and these other guys underneath. We need that speed guy. So if Fuller plays well this year and we re-sign Fuller, is Grant probably gone? I think so. But until we know for sure that that's what's going to happen, can we afford to release a guy that has that ability if we don't really have it on the roster outside of that? I don't know. But that being said, I don't think any of these other guys are better than Grant.
Guys, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, this X-Man shirt, there's a whole bunch more. I'm putting in the chat box, not the best drawings, T-shirt, Teespring link. Go support the kid. He's awesome. Good kid. He's got a lot of really cool drawings. He's got Waddle House, like Waffle House. He's got some really, really cool stuff. Go support the guy there. Definitely a good kid. Also, guys, you see this? Got something new for the background here. Shout out to Dolphin Germany, getting me the flag for the Dolphin fan club over in Germany. I love this thing, man. It's awesome. Shout out to Marcus from the German fan club, getting me this thing. It's great. Also got a couple of stickers in from them. The German fan club is awesome. Got to give a big shout out to the fan clubs outside of the United States. Dolphins UK, the France fan club. Obviously the Mexico fan club is going to be doing the podcast with us in Spanish only. So guys, keep up supporting these outside fan clubs, man. It's really cool to have fan clubs outside of the U.S. And there's a good chance we're playing in Germany next year. So I would love to see that. That's the big rumor.
You think that's going to happen?
I do. I 100% see that.
I want Mexico City, man.
Well,
Mexico City.
Look, we've already played there, right? And so that let's kind of talk about this real quick. So the Miami Dolphins are the consensus favorite team outside of the United States for fans. Like there are more Miami Dolphin fans outside of the United States than any other one team.
We got to thank Jason Taylor for that. Remember the first London game, yep. We played the Giants. They had that 100-foot tall animatronic statue with Jason Taylor out there.
It was awesome. And I know a lot of the Dolphin UK guys who went to that game, or Fins Nation UK guys who went to that game. It was awesome. So what I want to be able to tell you guys from the standpoint of that is I think that, it's already been proven the NFL is going to Germany next year. And the Dolphins and Stephen Ross, because he wants to get more Super Bowls, is always putting up his hand to say, hey, we'll play overseas.
Hey. I don't like this Hemi comment down there, all right? I drive a bright orange Dodge Challenger with a big Hemi in it. I ain't trying to hear it. But no, Steve, I agree with you, man. Like, don't forget, so like before all the COVID stuff last year, we were scheduled to play in London. So,
and we are this year.
Yeah, I know we're the road team this year.
Which is why I think next year, which is weird, right? Here's a theory. You could, for the sake of argument, say the Dolphins are the home team next year in Germany, but the Dolphins are going to get 8 home games next year, not 9.
Well,
and I don't think that the NFL is going to give 7 home games to a team.
Well, they did it with Jacksonville this year, right? Or do they have an extra home game?
I don't know.
See, it's weird to me. Like,
guys in the chat room, go see how many home games Jacksonville has. We know one of them is a game in London. I am interested to know that. Guys, go in the chat box.
It seems
let us
odd
know.
to me, man. You would think if a team's going to play internationally, like they should be the team with 9 home games, and that should be one of those home games, right? So each team gets 8. I don't know. There's a couple weird things I don't like that they do in the NFL like that. Like, for example, like the way bye weeks and the Thursday night games, some of those stuff line up, and I don't know, it's goofy. But
Fernando says they have 8 home games.
Yeah. So they technically have 7.
And Fernando, does that include the London game? That's what I want to know. Because if it includes the London game, then yes, 7. So then that means, in theory, the Dolphins, the whole AFC gets extra home games, NFC next year. No, that's not true, Fernando. 2 divisions in the AFC, 2 divisions in the NFC get home games this year.
Well, here's the other thing, man. They're gonna leverage these teams that have trouble selling out tickets to do these road games. You're gonna see Jacksonville do it. You're gonna see the Chargers do it. You're gonna see these teams that are struggling.
It's gonna be tough to get a West Coast team to go do a home game, man.
No, Mexico City.
Yeah, but Mexico City is a lot different than going to London or Germany from the West Coast.
But no, this is what I'm saying. Their international game, if they're in the West Coast, send them to Mexico City. That can be their international game.
Yeah, but how many Mexico games are gonna come next year?
I don't know. But let's say it's 1 a year, and there's 1 in Germany, and then there's 2 or 3 in London. You know, like whatever. I'm not here to rate the NFL schedule. I'll be honest with you, man. Like I'm not. That's a long flight for me. You know what I'm saying? To get to Europe from Denver, Colorado. So, like, personally, I would love to get some more of those Mexico City games. I know right now, like, I plan on going to Detroit next year for that road game. I plan on going to probably Chicago next year. What's Angel talking about here? I want to hear
everyone personally what everyone personally is going to do if the Dolphins make it to a Super Bowl and actually win it. Hashtag Dolphins Nation stand up. Hashtag DWA, MSM, Clock Blockers, Valley Fanatics, at Angel Ortiz MMA. Angel, I will cry. I will cry like a little girl. I will cry the day the Dolphins win it.
There's going to be a Miami sports music telethon to raise money for my bail.
Oh my God! You know it's funny. Rob said I might rob a bank, Angel, if that happens. So I was looking at Super Bowl prices last year. Now last year was an anomaly, right? It was, you know, the COVID and I didn't mean to put that in quotations, but it was an anomaly from the standpoint of it wasn't a sellout, right? So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, I think they said they sold 40% of the stadium, although it looked very full while you were looking at it. But, you know, with that being said, ticket prices, the cheapest ticket prices I saw last year were like $15,000 per ticket.
Yeah.
I can't afford that in any way, shape, or form.
So I think traditionally, when it's not a COVID time, I think the cheapest they run is typically around $5,000. I had a couple friends from Philly that went out to Minnesota a couple years ago when the Eagles went. So yeah, I'll be there. You know, I shouldn't probably say on air what might have to happen in order for me to get up the money for us.
I'm going to be in the same city. I straight up, when the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl, I will be in the same city. Cameron says at Angel will be unlimited champagne and lobster at the East 32 tailgate. NorCal says when the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, I'm deleting my Facebook page. I know who the real fans are now. No bandwagon fans allowed. Pete is in the building. What's up, Pete? How was last year an anomaly when Greer spent most?
He's talking about, when he says an anomaly, brother, he's talking about the Super Bowl ticket prices because they didn't have a full stadium. That's
Pete, you are late to the party, sir. You are tardy. I'm going to have to write you up, man. You're going to have to go to in-school suspension. Remember in-school suspension? I know y'all remember that. I was in there a lot.
We used to call homeroom.
It was called ISS for us. All right, man. Let's wrap up the show a little bit, and let's kind of bring things to a close, guys. Before we go, we're gonna stay on for just a little bit longer. I want to see area code donations. So whatever your area code is, donate that. And if you want to add a 0 to it, I won't be mad at you. But go ahead and do area code donations.
Whoa. What is this? What is this? Expect big news on Howard today or tomorrow? Was he pregnant? I ain't trying to hear it.
I feel you, Stephen D. I'm crying and screaming like a girl and running butt naked through the streets with nothing but a Miami Dolphins hat. Don't nobody want to see that, Angel. Don't nobody want to see that. Angel,
hey, Angel, you better get your cardio on now, bro. Get ready.
Wearing my Dolphins gear a week or a year and party with everyone at the MSM festival. You damn Skippy, we're doing a festival all day. All day. Walk it like we talk it. 561. Is that your area code? Donate your area code. If you live in the 909, donate $9.09. If you live in the 305, donate $3.05. Donate your area code donations. We are taking, and if you want to add a 0 to it and make it $30.50, I won't be mad at you. All right, yeah, area code donations. Marcos Diaz, July 2nd deadline for opt-outs worry me. Let's see here. Chef Shoe.
Opt-out rules, the players aren't going to get paid if they opt out. So it shouldn't.
Fernando says, yes, 9 home games, 1 in London. So, yeah, so you know what? That might be that the Dolphins don't get Germany next year. That's interesting. So if the Jags got 9 home games and 1 in London, I don't know if we are in Germany next year. That's interesting. Unless we're the away team again. Greer spent $230 million in last year's free agency. $137 million to those contracts are gone after only 1 year. We only kept $1 million worth of contracts. That's not good.
Why is it not good? Like, I'm serious. Like, why have them on the books if the players aren't good? Like, you look at a guy like Eric Flowers. Like, Solomon Kinley outplayed him and is cheaper and is now taking his job. Like, why would we keep him around? Like, again, this is actually one of my favorite things about Greer, right? It's that unlike some of the people we've had in the past, instead of trying to hold on because they're their guy, right? Or they don't want to say like, oh, I made a mistake. Like, he's going, no, hey, that didn't work out. Let's go. Let's move on. You know, like right now, Robert Hunt is probably going to start the right guard and Kinley's probably going to start left guard. By all accounts, like, I think we all think those are upgrades over the situation we had last year with Eric Flowers. So why is it a bad thing that we got rid of him? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And in today's league of restructuring and all that stuff, like, backs are flawed. Like, you look at, technically speaking, the highest paid quarterback right now is Dak Prescott and Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is never going to see $140 million. While I like Taysom Hill a lot, and I think he's going to start for the Saints, I think they're going to be good. Like, that contract has so many opt-outs and restructure clauses and all this other stuff that, and again, this goes back to how we started talking today about Xavien Howard. Like, don't get so fascinated on the dollar amounts. This isn't the NBA. This isn't Major League Baseball. Like, in the NFL, those numbers get spun around faster than Eric Flowers in a pass rush.
That's too funny, man. All right. Let's see here. I'd rather Ross concentrate on winning a Super Bowl and not getting one for county. I'm not sure what you meant by that, Larry. Estefan, I got you, my guy. I'm actually trying to hit you up right now. Hit me up. Fernando said Greer's doing a great job of the building through the draft and using free agents to fill holes. I agree with you. 57 likes, 3 more. Let's go, guys. Let's get to 60 likes.
Yo, even some of the things that we've done, like, for example, the McKinley trade, right? Like, that was a great move. Like, did we save any money? Did we get extra draft picks? Not really, right? But we traded what's his name, Lawson, out there, right, to get McKinley, who fits our system. So now we can let Baker play outside, right? Like Lawson was going to do, right? And we have a Pro Bowler to play the inside spot. We upgraded 2 positions without taking on any extra cap space or wasting a draft pick.
100%. Irving with the $1 donation. Let's go, Irving. Good job, man. Appreciate the donation. I tell people all the time, even if you donate $1, man, it helps the cause. So donate. We're doing area code donations right now too, just like my man Rob G did. He lives in the 386, so he donated $3.86. Let's see those area code donations. Last couple things I want to ask you, Wade, before I let you before we get out of here today. What do you think the biggest storyline besides X-Man is going to be in training camp this year?
And I'm sorry, I know we keep going back to X, but Diaz down here is talking about some big news with X tonight. We'll see. By the way, that's on Reason's channel. Reason's channel, Finsider, the NFL, is going to announce something on Xavien Howard later tonight. So I'll be tuning in just to see what that is. Go check it out. Also, you know what? That's a good segue, Marcos. If you guys haven't already, you guys need to go check out all these guys. TD Fins Talk, Dougly Do Wrong, K Flex, and all part of the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. We're big supporters of Inside the NFL and Reason. Go support him too. So yeah, go check all those guys out. They got great content. They're absolutely amazing. And then on the Miami Sports Music YouTube page, you can see all the Clock Blocker episodes and all the What Would Shula Do episodes. So make sure you guys go check that out right here on Miami Sports Music Podcast Network on YouTube. All right. So I'm sorry, man. What was the question? News in training camp.
Yeah, besides X-Man. What do you think the biggest storyline is going to be?
That depends on how you define. Like, of course, like the most coverage is going to be Tua, because we live in this stupid world where all people care about are quarterbacks. And I personally blame Brett Favre for this because he had to be the center of the news media every year for.
Is he going to retire?
I said it under my breath. But anyway, so of course that's going to get a lot of coverage. I mean, if you're talking about like players that are going to rise up or players that might lose a job or something like that, I personally am going to be paying a lot of attention to the running back position. But what I really want to see is Jevon Holland as good as I think he is?
Say that again. Jevon Holland? Yes, he is. 100%. I'm sorry, I was reading something was texting me. 100%. I would love to see that happen. 100%. I think Jevon Holland at the end of the day. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying this. Jevon Holland, Eschenberg, starters day one. Starters day one. There's no doubt in my mind. And if X leaves for whatever reason, Iggy's going to get the majority of the playing time because he.
100%. No, not a majority. He'll be the starter. And Mark Angelo and I are talking about it. Listen, I'm a Igbenogany fan. All right, I learned that.
Say it again. Say it 5 times fast.
Igbenogany. I learned the freaking name before the season started last year. All right.
Iggy. That's how I'm calling him.
Igby. I had to learn Igbenogany, Tungavaloa. I'm done. Thank God we're drafting guys like Hunter Long now. All right. But yes, I agree. If X is gone, Noah's going to step up. There'll be a lot of attention paid to that. And listen, I'm not writing off X and saying Noah's just going to step in and the team's going to be just as good, because that would be ridiculous. Noah's very good. Noah's going to be a very good starting corner for us in the future. Is he X yet? No, nobody is. X and Jair Alexander were the 2 highest graded corners last year for a reason. And Frank Gore's a free agent.
There was a reason I posted that. His son is 2 years away from the NFL.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, deep down inside, he wants to be the only father-son combo. to play at the same time in the NFL. I don't think that's ever been done.
I don't think it's going to be done either. But anyway, listen, yeah. So if we lose Jones or X and Noah steps up and is as good as I think he is, like, I don't think we're going to miss much of a beat. But yes, I mean, it's a downgrade from Xavien Howard to Noah right now. That would be an issue, right? Like Noah needs to prove he can be that guy. And again, I've said this time and time again, I'm not trying to pick on Byron Jones, but the Byron Jones we got last year was not the Byron Jones we paid for. He played okay, but he didn't play amazing, right? And he needs to. If we get rid of X, let's be honest, he needs to if we get rid of X. So if X moves on, we're going to have a ton more cap space next year. We can go spend money on, another player. If X does not move on, right, and X stays here, and Byron Jones does not step up, Byron Jones might go. But either way, yeah, those are the things I'll be looking at.
Damn, you're still on? Awesome. Yeah, well, we're about to get off flip side. We're at 59 likes. My goal was to get to 60. So I want to see one more big like at least, and I want to see one more big donation. So let's go, guys. Let's get those. Let me get another big donation, just like my man did earlier today. I got to give a big shout out to Eugene. Eugene had the $19.99 donation, and he also had a $50 donation earlier in the show. So give a big shout out to him. Who's going to beat Eugene's $50 donation? It was $49.99. Anybody got $50? Let's go. Donate. 50% of all donations will go to support displaced families in the Surfside community.
Hey, real quick. So Marco down here, I heard this yesterday too. So I'm not sure what exactly people were talking about when they say PFF didn't rank X in the top 50. X was the number one ranked corner on PFF last year, all the way through the last game of the season, and then Jair Alexander squeezed ahead of him. So I don't know, like, what that means, because somebody else told me the same thing yesterday.
I think it means he's not in the top 100.
Well, of what, though? Because X was the number 2 corner. So by their ratings, he was in the 90s or the high 80s. So I don't get that, because Kittle was the highest rated offensive player at I think 93 or something like that. And I'm sure Aaron Donald was probably the highest rated defensive player because he's maybe the greatest football player ever. But I don't get what they're saying.
Whoa, really? Say that again? You can't just drop a bomb like that and walk around it.
What, Aaron Donald? I don't even think
being the greatest football player ever?
So you can't say that yet, but he's definitely on the way there. He's already arguably the best defensive player.
No way.
100%. He got robbed.
As much as I hate to say it. And it pains me to say it.
This isn't a Rams channel.
It's Brady.
Go on about this. Brady's not even the best quarterback, dude. What are you talking about? Aaron Donald has not only one of the only top. There's only been 3 players ever to win Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, and he got robbed when Stephon Gilmore got it 2 years ago. He should have won it.
First of all, did he win it last year?
Yes.
All right, and should he have won it last year?
No. Yes.
Xavien Howard should have won it last year.
Listen, I love X, dude, but Aaron Donald is the best player in the game. And only 8 or 9 years in the league, he's hands down a Hall of Famer. He's the best. It's not even close, dude. It's not even close.
I hate Tom Brady with a passion. I can't stand the man. But the man is the best player to ever put on a football pad.
That's a ridiculous statement.
The man went to 11 Super Bowls, bro.
Okay, that's a team accomplishment. That's not an individual player accomplishment.
Bro.
Brady has had 1 year in the league where he was the best quarterback in the league, and that was the year he had Randy Moss. There was not another single year he was the best player, the best quarterback even in the league.
Guys, in the chat box, donate, and in your donation, tell me who the best football player of all time is. I want to hear it from you. Yeah, bro, there's no way Aaron Donald's that guy. He's not even – there's no defensive guy, in my opinion.
Hang on. What I said was he's well on his way to being the best football player ever. Okay?
No way.
That's what I said. Now, if he retired right now after only, I think, 8 or 9 seasons, he's a first-ballot Hall of Fame.
I can't say his name. Say it. Try to say it, Wade.
Big Benogany.
No. Andrevius. I hope I said that right. I know I did it. I can't beat $50, but here's my support. Love all the Miami sports music content. Shout out to you, big guy. Thanks for the love. And if you could give me the phonetic pronunciation of your name, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you. Andrevius. That's probably right, because you're better at pronouncing names than me. Let's see here. What qualifies as best?
Well, put it like this.
Estefan said the best defensive player I ever saw was Ray Lewis.
So when the NFL Network did their top 100 players of all time, the way their number one was Jerry Rice. And the way they did it was
my cousin.
They basically said, like, he's the most dominant player ever in his position. Like, when you talk about some of these other guys, like, you could argue this person was better than this person at their position, this person was better than this person. No one can argue there was a better receiver than Jerry Rice. Like, and it's not even really close when you look at the numbers and stuff like that. But, I mean, to me, like, when you're talking about the best, who is hands down the most dominant player at their position? We can argue who's a better corner. We can argue who's a better receiver. We can argue who's a better quarterback. There ain't no argument that there's a better defensive lineman. And I say lineman, including ends and Aaron Donald. There's just not. I mean, number two is probably Myles Garrett, but
say his name, Wade.
No.
Go ahead. Hey, Larry donated. I need you to try to say it because I can't.
Give me a second. I tried to learn this one time and I got drunk and forgot.
I got drunk and forgot.
Tua Enigma now. Let me start. Man, it's just Tua, man. Why you for what? When the announcer starts saying it, I'll freaking learn it. How about that? You know what? I can pronounce it. You ready? My quarterback.
My quarterback, man. That's my quarterback. I love it.
There's a lot of good names coming out here. Like Barry Sanders was my book. Barry Sanders, let me tell you something, especially if there's some younger people that are watching. It's like when the NFL did their top 100 players of all time, every player was introduced by a teammate or a coach or somebody they played against. Barry Sanders was introduced by a jazz musician because what he did was art. What Barry did, like when Barry retired, he was right there for the most yardage ever, despite the fact that he had the most negative runs in the history of the NFL because the Lions just sucked. But like what Barry did, garbage. I don't know if we'll ever see what Barry did again. I mean, there are certain guys who just kind of transcend stuff. Like, you talk about going back in the day, Sammy Baugh was really the first quarterback to throw like downfield on first down. He played a game where he threw 4 touchdown passes and he played safety on the other side and had 4 interceptions. Like, there's guys that'll do stuff that'll never be done again. And like, we see that occasionally. I think we're seeing it with Aaron Donald. Some of the names that were in here earlier, Reggie White, there's another guy that'll never be matched, Jerry Rice, Walter Payton.
Lawrence Taylor, Jim Brown, big time said. Walk it like we talk. It says Pat White. Ha 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 ha. Flip side division says.
My internet's cutting out. I can't.
Walter Payton. Look, here's a real deal. So my wife is actually cousins with Jerry Rice. All right. So by blood, my kids have Jerry Rice's family's blood in them. I'm just saying.
But they got yours too.
Well, that's true too. You know what? You got me there, Wade. You got me there. I do love me some Jerry Rice. But I think that in order to be the best player of all time, you have to have the biggest impact. And so for me, that's not a defensive player. I don't think a defensive player can do that. I would agree that
eliminating half the league.
But you have
half the players. Like, that's not. Yeah.
There are great defensive players that never won a damn thing, and
again, that's a team accomplishment, bro.
I understand that, and I'll be the first one to make that argument, bro. But at the end of the day, you're not winning or losing a Super Bowl because of one player on defense.
Sure,
you are winning a Super Bowl or losing a Super. You could win or lose a Super Bowl because of one player on offense.
I don't agree. You could win or lose because of any individual player. I mean, if you talk about guys that made impacts, I mean, we could look forever. We could look at, and I just mentioned Sammy Ball, right? The first quarterback to actually like start throwing downfield. I mean, you talk about guys like Night Train Lane back in the day. Like there are tackles that are illegal because he was the hardest hitter in the league. He also set the interception record as a rookie that still stands today, despite the fact that the season was much shorter back then. I mean, there are guys that have made huge impacts. Deacon Jones literally coined the term sack. Like, there are guys that made huge impacts. But when you're talking about, like, I think you're actually devaluing your argument right now. Like, what impact has Brady made? Like, what has he brought to the game that's different?
You can't I cannot believe that I am a Dolphins fan backing this man. It kills me that you're making me make this argument.
You don't have a good argument. You just keep saying
it is
because
the man went to 11 Super Bowls, Wade.
Again, that's a team
How can you discount that?
Again, that's a team accomplishment. So, like, what? I don't understand what you. By that logic, like the second best player is what's the kicker's name?
How come nobody else did it? How come Matt Castle couldn't do it?
Well, Matt Castle sucked.
Matt Castle still got $60 million off of 11 games.
Well, Matt Castle couldn't do it because Belichick said, "You're going to give me how
much?"
How
come Cam Newton couldn't do it?
Make it happen.
How come Cam Newton couldn't do it?
How comes Cam Newton couldn't be on a 53-man roster that won a Super Bowl? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you're talking about an individual
I'm talking about him in New England.
Let's talk about that. If you really want to talk about his, let's talk about the fact that his best performances, talking about Brady here, have been in Super Bowls that he's lost, specifically against the Eagles. Let's talk about how he's never won the Super Bowl without a top defense and a good running game. Like, the Atlanta Falcons come back. The defense held the best offense in the league that year to 0 points in the second half, and the running back scored 3 touchdowns. Like, we can go on for days about this.
So let me ask you something, Wade. Let me ask you. Joe Montana?
Joe Montana had Jerry Rice and Bill Walsh.
Joe Montana or Tom Brady? Joe Montana or Tom Brady? Who you take?
I would take Drew Brees over both of them in a heartbeat. You're talking about two guys that were products of systems. Versus there's an old Bill Walsh quote when he's talking about the difference between Joe Montana and Dan Marino. And Bill Walsh says, Joe Montana runs our system. Dan Marino is their system. It's a different thing. You're talking about guys that had 2 of the greatest coaches ever. You're talking about guys that were on teams that were stacked with talent. And you're talking about guys that were not even the best players on their team when they won Super Bowls. Like, but you're still using the Super Bowl as the measure, which is a team accomplishment. It has nothing to do with an individual player.
Like, I hate, like, you're making me sick to my stomach that I have to argue.
Well, tell me why I'm wrong.
Because, I mean, like, Aston Finn brings up a great point. Bro, obviously Brady's the main ingredient. He just won a Super Bowl with Tampa, right?
He won a Super Bowl with a
I never heard offense win Super Bowls.
Never.
I never heard offense
There's been
win
one
Super Bowls. Okay.
One Super Bowl ever that was won by offense, and that was when the Chiefs beat the 49ers.
The 49ers had a plethora of first-round draft picks. I don't think Marino had, but maybe won his entire career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Chiefs beating the 49ers was the only Super Bowl that was won by offense, and that game would have been very different if that Jimmy Garoppolo deep pass to Emmanuel Sanders would have fallen half a yard shorter.
Dan Marino, hands down, Pete, had the best arm ever in the history of the league. No one is debating that. But so, I mean, Marcos Diaz says Chad Pennington.
Cleo Lemon.
Tyler Thigpen. Coastal Carolina in the building. Bro, you defy it.
But this is the problem, though.
No. Hold on. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. He's
the guy. Like, that doesn't mean anything. I hate what he does better than.
All right. So I'm gonna change sports for you for a minute. Okay. I hate the LeBron to MJ comparison.
All right, this is a very different thing.
Hold on. I hate that comparison, right? Because it's 2 different eras, 2 different styles. You can't compare apples to apples with those 2 guys, in my opinion. Okay? And I think the same thing in football. Football has evolved and changed over time. There is no way that, 100%. Like, imagine Marino in today's NFL. 100%. Oh my God, he would.
Somebody said it the other day. I forget who it was, a coach or somebody said, like, he would throw for 7,000 yards. And you have to take this, like, you got to remember, when Marino retired, he held every record.
Every single record.
Right? But he also finished his career with like a 58% completion percentage, which by today's standards is god awful. Like, so you have to look at, especially when you're comparing.
Brett
like,
Favre threw
when
the
there's
most interceptions in the
changes
history of the NFL for a quarterback, if I'm correct.
I think he had the most turnovers total. I know Warren Moon at one point had the most fumbles,
Yeah.
but I think Favre might have actually surpassed that.
You know, look, I you can't compare apples to apples, but the argument is one that will be had for generations. Who was the best player in their respective sports? Basketball, it's either LeBron or MJ. Football, I would probably say the top few names that you'll hear Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and
I don't think anybody thinks Joe Montana's up there anymore, bro. After Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, and again, it's a
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice for sure. Jerry Rice is an interesting one because despite all the rule changes that have made it basically super easy for offenses to just dominate in the NFL, like there's still nobody that's anywhere close to what Rice did. Like the next closest guy, I think, is T.O., and he's like done like 2/3 of what Rice did stats wise. It's really insane when you look at how good Rice was. Now we could also talk about, hey, Bill Walsh innovated the West Coast offense. No one had ever seen it before. They were the first team to ever have a running back of 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in the same year. Shortly after that, they got Terrell Owens was on the team. You know, they had a really good defense. Guys like Ronnie Lott were out there that keep giving them the ball back. You know, like there's a lot of things you could talk about forever. This is why you have to kind of look at it in areas. But I mean, personally, when you're talking about the best players ever in the game, I don't think a quarterback makes the list at all. I mean, I think some of these guys like Deion, some of these guys like
whoever makes a donation with their favorite player, that's who the consensus will be for the sake of this argument. So whoever makes a donation, whatever name you say with your donation is the greatest player of all time in the NFL. Let's see him come. Come on, guys. Let's see those donations and greatest player of all time come.
Someone please put a Jay Fiedler donation.
I love it. Yeah, and whatever number they are, that has to be your donation. So if you say Dan Marino, you have to donate $13, right? That's what I want to see right now.
All I'm trying to say is there's one guy we all know was the best. It's this dude. Look, this dude right here is kind of blurry. That's Shula.
So, you know, all right. So let's talk about what would Shula do real quick. Is Shula the best coach ever, and would he succeed in today's NFL? Larry says Tua.
Here's the thing. Tua, I like it. So, all right, here's the deal. At the end of the day, for all we just talked about, right, you don't judge a player by team accomplishments. You do judge a coach by team accomplishments, right? So Shula not only has the most wins, the 347, everybody knows that, right? But the next I forget who's next. I guess, is it maybe Landry still? George Hallis, I believe. And then I think Belichick's third. So if their records ever fall, like if Belichick continues to play for a couple of things you got to remember is, number one, like there's obviously, I don't even want to call them allegations at this point. They've been caught cheating so many times. But there's also the 16-game season versus the 14-game season. There's extra games, all these other things taken into account. The thing that people don't remember about Don Shula, right, is they went to those 3 straight Super Bowls in the 70s, you know, the back-to-back wins, the undefeated team. But shortly after that, that upstart football league, I believe it was the
USFL.
SSFL? There was
the
two.
USFL.
There was a different one in the 80s. The one in the 80s was different. So I think maybe it was the United Football League. I get them confused. But whatever that league was, they came in and signed away all the talent that we drafted. They came in and signed
Larry Zonka, gone.
Yup. All those guys. So when people talk about the 72 Dolphins, they talk about the undefeated record. What they don't talk about is, to this day, they were the only team that led the league in all 4 major statistical categories: total offense, total defense, and scoring defense. Right? Then they had their team stripped away from them by another league. This was before free agency. There was no compensatory draft picks, right? Like they had this team ripped away from them and basically had to start over with half the roster. And he still became the winningest head coach in the history of the NFL. Like, I don't know if there's ever going to be anybody you can talk about like that, because I don't think that situation is ever going to arise again. Like nowadays, there is no competition for the NFL. There's no one that's going to pay more. You know, when you do get players taken or whatever it is, there's a compensatory fix. And whenever I bring this up, occasionally people talk about, because I brought up the cheating stuff with the Patriots, right? Occasionally people bring up that the Dolphins had gotten into some trouble in the early 70s too. However, let me be very clear, if you actually go back and read into that, that was not Shula. That was Joe Robbie, who was doing some shady stuff with salaries on the back end. That got in trouble.
Yep.
Right. So do I think Shula was the greatest? I do. Do I think there's other people that have been really great and are worth talking about? Absolutely. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to be in another situation like Shula for a couple of reasons. One, what I just mentioned. Two, there's no patience in the NFL anymore because of things
you get 1 year. Look how many head coaches have had 1 year in Cleveland.
We started off talking about Zach Taylor. This is maybe his last year if they don't have a great season. And then the third thing is it's a little bit harder to be as innovative nowadays than it was back then. Because back then, when you rolled something out and you were the first one that thought of it, it lasted a while. You know, you didn't have the film, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have all these other things like that were easily accessible. Like we talk about, and I'm going to butcher his name from the old head Dolphins fans, but was it Bob Matheson? Was number 53. And we literally called it the 53 defense. It was something Shula created. But it wasn't about the scheme. It was about how we brought him on the field and where we used him, because he was kind of undersized, but still kind of strong and fast and all those other fucking things. So, like, that type of stuff it's not, as in, it doesn't last as long anymore. Back then, you could create something innovative like that was really good and use it for a couple seasons. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, Rob G donated $13 for Dan Marino. If you think Dan Marino is the greatest football player of all time, be like Rob G, donate $13. Remember, 50% of all donations will go to support displaced families in the Surfside community. So let's go, guys. Let's donate. Bro, I don't think – I think people – you know, it's funny. People are want to say Belichick is the greatest head coach of all time. I don't think he is. Now, what I will say is I think he's the smartest head coach of all time. Because
he's great. He's great at abusing the rules and bending the rules and all that stuff.
He knows and here's a reality of it, right? Like somebody just put it in the box that said Shula never cheated either. That is true. That we're aware of. And I'm not putting anything past Shula. I don't think Shula cheated, but I do think that Shula probably put he had to bend the rules in some way, shape, or form in order to succeed. And I don't know where that would have been. There's never been any, I don't want to discredit Shula's integrity, but I think to a certain extent, if you're not trying to bend the rules to make it fit your scheme, like I don't think you can't stay successful for a long time in any league without that. Would you agree or disagree?
I mean,
look at Popovich. Popovich has tried to do that. You know, the hackish. You know,
like bending the rules is not a problem per se, right? Like in the NFL, it thinks that it is. They change the rules. Like here's a perfect example. A couple years ago, the Patriots got into some hot water for some stuff they were doing against the Ravens in the playoffs, right? They were essentially like sliding a receiver on the line of scrimmage. They were, saying, okay, now this offensive lineman's eligible. They were snapping the ball before the ref had a chance, like an ounce and nonsense. That was legal at the time. Now they changed the rules after that, right, to make it illegal. But like, if you're acting within the confines of the rules, like, no, I don't have a problem with that. That's creative, it's innovative, it's smart. If you're blatantly breaking the rules, like they've done several times, they've been caught how many years videotaping that 3 times? I think separately they've been caught videotaping practices, deflating.
They keep cheating on the same thing, which is always funny to me.
Right. And they're filming like the Bengals.
That's who they got caught by the way. That's who they got caught by. All right, man. Look, let's wrap this thing up. I appreciate you coming on today. What do you have in store for What Would Shula Do as the season gets going?
Some new gear, some new cool stuff. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Miami this year, so I would like to record some stuff actually at tailgates at the stadium. Going to be a lot of interesting stuff, man. We're going to watch the rookies hard. We're going to talk a lot about Liam Eichenberg, Xavien Howard, Jalen Waddle, hopefully Jalen Phillips. I'm still kind of curious as to see like what his role is going to be this year. But yeah, a lot of cool, interesting, innovative, angry stuff.
Look, man, I appreciate you coming on today. So I guess we can make the announcement. You're coming on every Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir.
So Tuesdays from here on out, we'll have Wade O and me co-hosting. I don't think we're going to go a little over 2.5 hours like we did today. We're probably going to have to cut it short. But look, man, I appreciate you coming on. I love you, brother. Tell Rox I love her. I miss you both. And I'm glad that I got to see you guys out in Denver, bro. Yo, that altitude kicked my butt, man.
Yeah, it'll do that, man. You got to listen. Denver's got the best home field advantage in football. There's a reason.
The moment I got off the plane, I started breathing hard. And I'm a big guy anyway, but man, that altitude was something else. And it makes me think of guys like who's the guy from the Steelers who couldn't play up there? Ryan Clark, man. That's always crazy to me. All right, brother. Any last where can people find you on social media?
What Would Shula Do? Instagram, right here, MiamiSportsMusic.com, all that wonderful stuff. Most of my other stuff I'm trying to clean up a little bit. I'm in a real estate business, so we got a little marketing over there. But What Would Shula Do on Instagram will be there.
Well, look, hey, if there's ever been a time, I will tell you, I saw so many developments in the Denver area. People are like moving there. I didn't know how big it was till I saw all the homes being made out there. That's crazy out there.
Oh, it's paradise, bro.
All right, bro. I love you, man. Be good. And I will talk to you later. All right.
All right. Peace, guys.
All right. Guys, that was Wade O from What Would Shula Do. I want to thank Wade for coming on. I'm about to wrap up here, but I do want to remind you guys a few things before I go. Number one, my girl, Doll Freaky. If you are excited for Doll Freaky, hit that like button. Hit that like button for the Freak Show and donate to the channel because it helps the channel grow. And we're able to put out new stuff like the Freak Show. So I am super excited about Allie Doll Freaky coming on board. Her show will be dropping July 5th, 8 p.m. only on YouTube, the Miami Sports Music YouTube page, the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. At 7:15 that day, we're going to get on live here. We're going to do a live digital countdown show. It'll have myself, Jamie Bahamas, and Doll Freaky on, where she's going to kind of, talk about the making of her first episode and, what is going to go into it moving forward. Super excited about that. If you guys are Miami Sports Music YouTube members, which you guys, if you're not, you should be, you guys will get access to content earlier than everyone else. So please, for the sake of everything, sign up, become a member today. You get discounts to MiamiSportsMusic.com. You get access to things so much earlier. There's a lot of you guys that are in the chat room all the time. You guys need to sign up, become members of the channel. Well, membership, the basic DWA membership starts at $2.99 a month. If you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing with your life, because we got a lot of amazing content. And we got people that are DWA for life and DWA loyalty. And we got a lot of good things coming up in the future. Super, super excited about that. And remember, one last time, if you guys haven't donated yet, see the donations here for PayPal and Cash App. Take a screenshot of this, pause it, take a screenshot, and you guys can definitely help out with the PayPal and the Cash App, because donating this way is the quickest way that we can help the people that were displaced in the community of Surfside. We want to be able to help the families there. So Wednesday, tomorrow, just so everyone knows, I'm going to have a special guest on. Jason Sarney, the lead operator from finsmaniacs.com, is going to be on. We're going to talk about his website, his podcast, and so much more. We're going to talk about some of the same topics that we talked about here today and get his take on everything. So I am super excited about having Jason Sarney on. That should be a good interview. So I'm super excited about that. And then obviously Thursday, Thursday, I'm going to have Dolph Freaky on. So if you are excited about seeing Dolph Freaky on, go ahead and hit that like button too, because Thursday is going to be a huge show. So make sure you guys are doing that. I want to give a big shout out to people in the chat box. AB just said prayers up, Surfside, my whole city of Miami, all day, baby, all day. Look, guys, again, I want to remind everybody, if you donate, 50% of all donations will go to support the displaced families of the Surfside community. And there's a lot of help that they need right now. So, guys, if you donate to the channel, you're helping the channel, right? But just remember this week, Miami Sports Music, if you donate, at least the podcast network, if you donate, we're going to be donating to these families and helping out. And I am super excited about that. So make sure you guys donate even when we're off the air. Use the PayPal, use the Cash App, MSM Podcast Network. Awesome. Definitely want to make that happen. Also, guys, want to remind everybody we have where are my Spanish speaking people at? If you're watching right now and you speak Spanish, get in the chat box and tell me something in Spanish. Say, great show, Steven, in Spanish. Or I'm donating now in Spanish. Because the reason I say that is Miami Sports Music is going to be dropping a new show in the next couple of weeks. Weekly. It'll be a weekly show that the Miami Dolphin fan club in Mexico, Armand, big shout out to Armand, Chochos, and Paris. It'll be a Spanish-speaking podcast specifically for the Miami Dolphins. Super excited about it. It's going to be big. The title of the podcast is called Hell Fins because it's hot as hell down in Mexico. So super excited about that. That logo is so dope. So make sure you guys check out that podcast if you speak Espanol. And yeah, man, we're trying to do big things over here at Miami Sports Music. And the way that we do that is with your help with your like button by hitting that like button, as well as donating to the channel. So make sure you guys do that. Super excited about that. All right, guys, I think that's kind of everything I got for the day. I want to remind everybody that, we have the list of shows here. TD Fins Talk, Dudley Do Wrong, K Flexin. Go check out my guys. Go check them out. They're awesome. They're amazing. They always put up amazing content. All three of those guys are GOATs. And you know what? For the sake of purposes, you got to go check out Finside the NFL with Reason. Big fan of Reason and Finside the NFL. Also, if you're a Hurricanes fan, go check out Coach Coop, man. Coach Coop is that guy. Coach Coop is definitely that guy. He does such an amazing job for Hurricanes content. Make sure you guys go catch my man Coach Coop on his YouTube channel. Awesome. All right, guys. I love y'all. It's been so fun hanging out with y'all today. I really, really love getting on with y'all. I want to give a big shout out again to not the best drawings with this X-Man t-shirt. One last time, I'm going to put this in the box so you guys can go support him because this t-shirt is dope as hell. And he's got a lot of other cool t-shirts that I really, really love. So let me put that in the chat box for you guys too. Steven in Espanol is Esteban. Yes, it is Esteban. Super excited about that. JD says, peace, Stevie. Thanks, bro. Love you, JD. I appreciate it, big guy. Walk it like we talk it. Irving, always doing their thing. And then last but not least, I also want to give a big shout out again to the Germany fan club for hooking me up with this cool Miami Dolphins Germany fan club flag. Guys, this is awesome. It's good stuff. They also given me a t-shirt that I'm going to wear tomorrow on the show. And I'll show that for you guys tomorrow on the show. And I'll have the links for you guys tomorrow to get your own fan club flag as well as shirt. It's good stuff. So, guys, I love you. Be good. If you're not going to be good, be great. Love each other, man. Spread kindness, positive. Oh, yeah. Follow me on social media. If you haven't done that yet, go down below at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. Go follow me right now on social media if you have not done so already. And use the hashtag Dolphin Chat and hashtag ClockBlockers when you guys do anything on social media that pertains to either the Dolphins or the morning show here, because we want to grow, we want to expand, and we can't do that without your help. So again, I love you guys. If you're not going to be good, be great. Spread kindness, spread positivity, and most importantly, spread love. Love you guys. Y'all be good. Check me out. Check out Ali's show again. We're going to have a great, great, great time. So love you guys. Be good. Peace out. Fins up.
Gang gang, 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 gang gang. You see him in orange and green? That's gang gang. You ready for Storm 18? That's gang gang. Gang gang, 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 gang gang. You see him in orange and green? That's gang gang. That's gang gang. You ready for Storm 18? That's gang gang. That's gang gang. Reps since a juvenile, I be where they throwing up using crowds. You know how that school get down, not taking no L's, we ain't losing now. Don't get it confused right now, I represent making these music sounds. They play me when they study in their dorm room, request me an Uber now. I be screaming Kane gang, across the world they be screaming out the same thing. We first to arrive and last to leave, we filling the sense of capacity. You know I won't change why you asking me, be throwing this youth to the casket deep. Be all on the field like Sebastian B. Rockin' Kane's well, I'm a fashion freak. Look, I be staying live on pipe down. Ass down life, it's a lifestyle. And like the mother schools don't confuse us. We the only ones that really throw the you up. But Kane's fam turned up where you find me. Hit hard like I seen it go to Shanti. Try to reach a Manny D, they remind me that them Kane's right back in they prime. Screaming out. Kane gang, Kane gang, Kane gang, Kane gang, Kane gang, Kane gang, Kane gang. You see him in orange and green? That's Kane gang. You ready for Storm 18? That's Kane gang. Kang gang, 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 kang gang. You see him in orange and green? That's kang gang. Put work in my strategy. Develop a masterpiece. I struggle with no fear. That's in my anatomy. Go hard to stay home. I'm not with a mattress be. Pursuing it actively. Can't nothing catch me. Call it that mamba mentality. 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 Pursuing it actively. Can't nothing catch me. Call it that mamba mentality. Through the storm, out through the pain. Go harder than a moving train. Every now and then take a loss. Double back like a boomerang. In the field, I gotta move the chains. On the court before I shoot an aim. Exceeding these expectations. Day-to-day preparation. Opposite of hesitation. Show up till they close up. I go overtime for that payment. But them dollar signs can't tame me. See my passion drive me like an Aston Martin. I can't ask for no favors. If they don't give it, we take it. My stay solid, can't break it. Moving the lane like Kobe. Do not complain like Kobe. Work hard like Kobe. Earn scars like Kobe. Come to the feast, I fill up my plate. You wait on your food, I cannot relate. No 24/7, go 24/8. No 24/7, go 24/8. Like, put work in my strategy. Develop a masterpiece. I strike with no fear. That's in my anatomy. Go hard to stay home. I'm not with a mattress be. Pursuing it actively. Can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality. 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 Pursuing it actively. Can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality.
This has been a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production.
So low, so low, so low.